Oh yeah, we're gonna rock and roll, rock and roll. I got a backpack on the back. It's about 44 pounds. I got a little bit of that toilet paper on it, so we're gonna rock and roll. We're gonna go drill it, as you know. You know where we're going again. We're gonna switch it up again. We're gonna go do some of those drills and gonna hydrate and go rock and roll. Put it on the top and get it on the go and into the sun roundabout. Let's see. Oh yeah, we got a backpack. Ready for the march. Gonna hydrate. Thank you, workers of the Publik. They're working over there, public workers, and gonna salute them for the work being done here. Just to have water. Right, hydrate and go on the march. So rock and roll, encouraging all to work out, train, exercise regularly. Has been, is, will be my medicine and therapy of choice for the farmers, butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, grocery store clerks, all involved in the production, distribution of food, LOVE. Firefighters, bakers, nurses, doctors, public workers, those warehouse workers, railway conductors, those who pick up the garbage, the collection, etc., etc. Hydrate, HYDRATE. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Gotta get it on the go and gotta get that rock and roll. In the sun we go, ready for the march. Got the backpack on it, and the go habs go tonight. Please give some tickets to the public workers, those changing some of those aqueducts, and of course those changing some of those aqueducts, and butchers and bakers and nurses and doctors and firefighters, all involved in the production, distribution of food. And you have a little bit of the yellow flowers there, which always gives me some of that joy. And here are the train conductors, and all the work is being done now across the North American Collective. We gotta get it on the go with that. And here we're gonna go, and railway conductors, imagine all the work to build all these railways. This goes east-west parallel, and on the other side here from NDG, for all the workers, the butchers, the bakers, the nurses, the doctors, the grocery store clerks. Imagine all the truckers now on the road, and my fellow cousins, citizens there, aunts, and all the great Canadian family here, Quebec, are being excited for that Montreal Habs game tonight. I'm gonna go around about in the sun, and gonna go as we usually go, you know, around about over time, every time, discussing a little bit. Already I'm an hour in my march, and I'm so grateful that the toilet paper was half price, and I'm really grateful that the chocolate bunnies I bought, black, white, black, was $1 each. So that's gonna be double trouble for me after my workout. I'm gonna give one black one white one, white chocolate bunny to my anonymous friend, and who wasn't my friend because of the money, and gonna rock and roll with that, you know. So that's gonna be the trail, and that's gonna be my little $1 reward. But I guess it's $2, because if I have a black and a white one tonight, and today's Wednesday, so tomorrow I'm gonna have another black and white one, because I got 2 for me of each. That's $4, and 2 for my anonymous friend, so that was 6. So grateful, thankful, rent's paid, electricity bills paid, got food and coffee. And here we're gonna go, grateful for the public workers there, big major public works, and we need to reconstruct the North American Collective Civilisation complex. And turn your heads left or right before you cross the street. It is past 3 o'clock, and we're gonna go by that where we go, you know, not by the river, not by the mountain. We were in between. Yesterday we went to the mountain. Today we're gonna go by La Falaise. And of course I'm gonna remind myself that yesterday I went to the mountain. I'm more than 6 hours yesterday, and I'm a bit sore today. I still have to take a bath because I still cannot afford a massage therapy session. Please, anybody want to finance or be that volunteer, friends with benefits only. I'm an aspie artist, athlete, philosopher, geopolitical, theoretical, understand interior, so rocks and roll for the farmers, butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors. Check my hundreds of workout videos, hundreds of rock and roll videos. And I used to do laundry with that. Right there, I used to do laundry for years and years and years. That was the corner where I did a little bit of laundry for years and years and years. So a lot of laundry over the years, I guess, is being done. But that's what I used to do, laundry over there. And this is my neighborhood. And from my neighborhood, we're going to go zigzag around the back. It's still there. The buanderie in French, still there, the laundry. And that's what we got to get doing with that. And so I got to get on that loving side of things. And that's the laundry. And this is my neighborhood. I wish I could get investment, a little bit of millions to finance the reconstruction, not as just buildings like this, but all the North American inner urban cities, aka the ghettos of North America, the inner urban cities, the ghettos, aka urban cities, to rebuild the North American collective. Let's sign that executive order. Donald Trump, Granddaddy Trump, which I would have not supported, but of course I would have gotten on the go, and I would have loved to do a little bit of building with that. And of course, Granddaddy Trump, I don't support him, but gotta watch it when I cross the street, you know. On the left and on the right, cross the streets. Go get it on the do and get it on the now, and watch out for my fellow citizens who go also cross the streets, you know. So that's how we gotta get doing with that. That's how we gotta get on that habitual side of things, and that's how we gotta get doing on the love side, you know, because we gotta get it on the love is action. It's not all about money, and we need to sign that executive order to rebuild the North American inner urban cities. Like this neighborhood also needs a lot of work invested in, and it's always a public-private partnership. I guess I would say initiatives and protocols and initiatives and theories for their implementation are fundamentally PPP, public-private partnership based, public-private partnership based, PPP based, you know. It's always a public-private partnership with my dream, you know. The dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom manifesting for those little white flowers. For my collective, pledge your allegiance to our family here, the New World, the North American collective, where we got that French, being a French Canadian Quebecers, 9 million plus of us. If we add Canada, United States, 44 million, I guess, plus 340, that's close to 400. If we add Mexico, that gives us a lot, close to 500, you know. That exists close to 500, so we always got to meditate on the Appalachians and all that we have in common here, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, you know. And we got to channel the aggression. Tough times, you know. I live with scars myself, and marking 5 years since I had COVID, survived COVID back in 2020. We got to get it on that surviving COVID, you know. When I survived COVID between February 20 and March 20, and that's how we gotta go do it with that, and that's how we gotta get doing with the love side of things, and that's how we gotta get on the love, you know. So it's something which we gotta be transmitted on, and be on the side of things that, you know, it's love is also action, and we gotta get it on the go, you know. So we gotta get it for the butchers, the bakers, the nurses, the doctors, and the firefighters, and all those involved in the production and the distribution of food. And we gotta get it for those on the road now, the plumbers, the electricians, those daycare workers changing some of those diapers. And we gotta get it on those who love, you know, because love is also an action. But of course, it can be abstract love, it could be all sorts of love for bacon, love for cheese, love for fitness, as I have, I guess, while being an Aspie, you know. Asperger's, again, is a mental psychic condition which is not a mental illness. So having Asperger's, I'm gonna cross the street here. I'm gonna cross the street, turn my head left and right, although there's a pedestrian, and that's how we gotta get doing. So Asperger's, I live with this neurological mental condition which makes that my brain is different. So Aspie brain, being part of the community of people who live with Asperger's, or aka HFA, high functioning autism, our brains are different. So the constitution, the composition, the way our brains are made, are structured, the brains are different. So there's a slight distinction in the brain functioning, in the brain composition of how they are on the side when we are involved in all the daily activities. You know, they can be a little bit on the weird side, you know, on our interactions in the communication manners, and It's just because our brains are different. So it's not a mental illness, Asperger's. It's just because our brains are different. So we see the world differently, and we are different. And I'm part of this tiny, small fraction of the population. It's less than 1%, less than half of a percent. It's 0.44% in North America who have Asperger's. Being I'm an Asper, So I've been building bridges for the past more than 44 months, more than 3.5 years, because I've been diagnosed by many people throughout the past 7+ years, when I've been denying it, I said, no, I didn't want to wear the stigma, and, because there's no medication for Asperger's. It's just because our brains are different. So we have certain things, characteristics in the way we socially communicate, which seem very weird and awkward and are abnormal, For example, getting too close to conversation. When we converse, when we discuss with fellow citizens, we might approach citizens too close. So, for example, personal space. An Asper might get close by 2-3 inches. So that might be intimidating, seem like it's, quite even violent or intimidating, or beautiful flowers, or it can be seen because it's a societal norm which is applied by the majority of the population, right? It's something which is non-written, but most people know that there's a personal space. But as an Asper, people like myself with Asperger's, that I've noticed even in the past years, when I get close, then I have to take a step back. Just like my anonymous friend says, take a step back. You're too close, because these things, it's just our neurodivergence, our brains are different, so these things are hard to put into application into the daily activities. And not that we're not violent or more violent or aggressive or prone to criminality than any other group, but we are part of this tiny minority, tiny fraction of people who live with Asperger's. Aspers go. And it's just that the communication manners, the way we interact, can be very weird and awkward, and can seem very strange to many. Very strange, very weird, very strange, very weird and strange, and whatever the case may be, and that's just how it happens and how we are, in Aspies are. So we have our vulnerabilities, we have our weaknesses, we have our shortcomings, we have things where we're less able in the daily routines. And the thing is, with Asperger's, we have special interests which can consume vast majority of our daily activities revolve around those special interests, aka obsessive interests. So my holy trinity is geopolitics, the analysis, and I'm an independent geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist, and fitness and sports. Dancing is my favorite sport. Love to dance, bust a dance move all the time. Heavy. So and rock and roll. So those activities I'm involved 93+% of the time. I'm involved in those activities on the daily life, in the daily activities. So for different aspects, it could be different things. It could be, for example, electronics and geography. It could be history. It could be whatever the case may be. It could be painting, and I love yellow flowers. Love those yellow flowers. So it can be whatever the special interest is. Mine happens to be geopolitics, sports, fitness. Dancing is my favorite sport and fitness activity. Dancing is a sport, and rock and roll. So that's basically what's in the past more than 7 years I've been dedicating my life to being mostly involved in those activities. But the problem with Asperger's is that sometimes those activities take more time. They take so much time and effort and energy of our daily life, and with intensity, concentration, and super focus sometimes, super dedication, or maybe even use that terminology. But of course, we tend to neglect other areas. So that is one of the upsides, because there's several upsides to being an Asper. Like, is a high unemployment rate among Asperger's, very high. Unfortunately, it's Asperger's, the problem of maintaining long-term employment. I have many employments during the past 7 years, a few weeks, a few months, a few months, a few weeks, a few months, a few weeks, a few months, a few weeks. That's because a lot of people there's been a lot of work being done in the past 7+ years, 10+ years, in the 21st century mostly, but there's still a lot of misconstruing, misunderstandings, and mislabeling of Asperger's as a mental illness, even something which can be contagious or trapped. And it's like, people, I don't want to catch that illness or that malady, but no, it's not. No, it cannot be. It's not contagious. Our brains are different. So the composition of our brains are structured in such a manner that a person might be an Ashby or not. So it's just the brains. The brain are different. So our brain structure is totally different from others in the normal society. So being that the brain is different, we have the capacity of course to have certain things, but we also have the lack in certain things. We have a lack, in certain things we have a lack. So that lack has to be balanced and counterbalanced, always has to be countered and counterbalanced and with other things. It's always management of the symptoms, because there's no medication. It's not something that can be medicated. It's not something that can be treated in the common sense of a treatment of a illness, mental illness or depression or whatever. Although I had lived being depressed and suicidal, and unfortunately again, not only unemployment but a high rate of depression and suicide is found among Ashbys. A high rate of depression and suicide is found among Ashbys. So a high rate of both depression and suicide, parallel to a high rate of unemployment, is found amidst Ashbys, people who have Asperger's, like myself, which again is not a mental illness, but is a neurological mental divergent condition. I don't even use the term symptoms. They're characteristics of Asperger's, because symptoms is mostly for an illness symptoms, and it's not a mental illness, and it's just that our brains are different. And supposedly a BBC British Broadcasting Corporation, not the pornography acronym, and I stopped watching porn about more than 50 months ago, more than 3.5 years ago now already. I think more than 44 months, more than 50 now maybe. Last year November was 44, more than 3.5 years for sure. That's what we gotta get doing with that. So that's what we gotta get doing. So basically, what is the terminology and what is Asperger's is a neurological mental divergent condition, is because due to our brains, and like I was saying, there's a British Broadcasting Corporation documentary which of course stated that of course Asperger's is supposedly a path, a next step. Go Hydro-Quebec, go Hydro-Quebec, go Hydro-Quebec, go Hydro-Quebec, go Hydro-Quebec, go. Love you, Hydro-Quebec. Thank you. See you when I see Hydro-Quebec. See how my brain works? Now that I know that this Hydro-Quebec truck has gotten a lot of Hydro-Quebec, thanks to the Hydro-Quebec workers of the past and present, by which we have this electricity. And of course, my brain, being that I have geopolitics as a special interest, of course, that special interest is that geopolitical interest, that geopolitics is my special interest. I put it in the concordium that of course I see the firefighters, and I see the give them a massage therapy session, and of course the fact that is gonna get it on the go, and gotta get it for the love, and that's what we gotta get doing with that. And so we gotta salute the firefighters, and of course we gotta get some loving. And I see the Hydro-Quebec truck, and I put it into the concordium on the go, and of course I meditated. My brain switches basically to geopolitics, because Hydro-Quebec provides us electricity, and electricity which of course is a matter of national security, and greater North American collective geopolitical complexities of today makes it that we have to fuse and unite with my brothers and sisters in the USA. Whence I was born 3 times in a past life, once as a woman, twice as a man. Was born in the USA, 3 times in a past life. So we're open for sabotage and espionage. Our trains there. We're open for sabotage and espionage. So we got espionage and sabotage, which are open, of course. Our trains, our planes are always open for potential sabotage and espionage by foreign actors, XYZ, whoever they may be. But now, since we got involved in different points of view, and we got involved in different conflicts in a military manner, they're of course open for sabotage and espionage, and we gotta get it on the do, and that's what we gotta get doing, So see all these trucks of course, this is as you can see, I know that this train goes west, maybe towards the prairies, maybe towards Regina, maybe towards Ottawa, maybe towards British Columbia. I know that it might carry vital national security or the collective North American civilizational complex, whatever it carries, goods, whatever it carries, grains, petrol, grains, I don't know, but it's important for me to know, and to know, of course, everything that's coming in and out of the North American Collective for the SSD principle, by the establishment of the Dragon Army, which I'm calling for the establishment of the Dragon Army to be North American integrated 63 legions for SSD, the 63 legions for SSD, for this SSD for the 13 political entities, 3 territories and 10 provinces. 3 territories and 10 provinces, 3 territories and 10 provinces, 3 territories and 10 provinces to be united, fused with the 50 states. Once I served in the United States Army twice in the past life when I was born. He served in the 2 different wars, 156 years apart. The wars were 156 years apart, and was born in the USA 3 times, just 3, through a glass darkly. Where there's a light, there's a shadow. Where there's a light, there's a shadow. Where there's a light, there's a shadow. Actually, correction. That's an anonymous poem by an anonymous warrior. And of course, that's what is going to be doing it. But the poem is called Through a Glass Darkly. George Patton, Through a Glass Darkly. George Patton's Through a Glass Darkly, where he states his belief in reincarnations, and I know that this train is going west. So many other information, knowledge, wisdom I don't have. I know that I'm an independent geopolitical theoretical analyst interiors who lives with this neurological mental divergent condition known as Asperger's, and I'm androgynous pansexual, part of the LGBTQ community. But when it comes to geopolitics, that is my special interest, aka obsessive interest, because Aspies, people with Asperger's, we have these special interests, and it's geopolitics 24/7 with me. Even now, see how my brain directs these consequentially and puts it in integrated and links it, makes the links back to my geopolitical theoretical analysis, which predates the surviving COVID in 2020, back in 2019, when I had made and created a workout training program system designed to go in concordium with a World War III scenario. That's why I say pledge your legions, friends with benefits only. I got plenty of scars, survived COVID and trauma, financially stressed today, but my geopolitical theoretical analysis is worth gold, and geopolitical theoretical analysis is worth gold. My geopolitical theoretical analysis is worth gold, and financially stressed, but I'm in a precarious situation financially, and that's why so many of my theories I do not openly discuss, because therefore discussing with high-ranking members of the national security apparatus, CSIS, and national defense, my Uncle Bill Blair, my Uncle Bill Blair, and of course the Pete Hegseth, I gotta say cousin, and it's Dragon versus Trump since 2018. Since Trump imposed in tariffs on Granddaddy, that was a mistake, but Granddaddy Trump imposed tariffs on Canadian aluminum and steel back in 2018. That was a mistake. In 2018, imposing tariffs on Canadian aluminum and steel, that was a major mistake, and that was the appellation, which of course now it has even gotten more deeply into the trade war, and consequently more imposition of more tariffs on Canadian goods. And it's a mistake, just admit it. I made a mistake. It's not the way to invite Canadians to become fused with the United States. My dream, the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, manifesting for a public-private partnership across the collective North American civilizational complex to rock and roll rap, the new 911 Dragon Army protocols for the 21st century for the SSD principles to be applied across the 13 Canadian political entities, because we got 3 territories, 10 provinces in the 50 states for the 63 legions of the Dragon Army for SSD, security, service and defense, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, security, service and defense, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, to be solely and only for security, service and defense, coast to coast, ocean to ocean. And we're gonna get them marching a little bit in the sun and coming back, and it's on that Wednesday today. It is the 23rd already of April, I guess, 23rd. Yeah, pretty much 23rd, that's it. And it's Wednesday 23rd, and see that train, I know it's going west, but that is of course for citizens transportation. It's not a good cargo train, but you know, we got to get rid of the border and we got to focus on security, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, coast to coast. And of course, we have to do a great census to see everybody who's been living here in the North America, Canada, United States joint, create a common passport and Salut, ça va? Yeah, okay. I thought you were speaking. Yeah, I got a little bit of red sack.
Are you practicing for a marathon?
No, I'm just working out with it, and I had to buy some toilet paper. And I found it on special, so now it's a bit bulky, but I usually carry because I like to go hiking. Yeah, I like to go hiking. Usually I go to the mountain, but now I came here. I'm going to go check the flowers because there's field of yellow flowers there.
Oh, yeah.
So...
I came from the Glen, but I got on the trail inside instead of this trail. Anyway, I walk and I never look where I'm going.
Oh, you got to look where you're going, buddy. Hey, you got to get back home safely. If you got somebody waiting for you, the Habs tonight going to play the Washington Capitals.
Oh, I hope I'll be okay with that.
Yeah.
I fell asleep in the political debates, but
I'm not gonna. I don't know. I disagree that our Prime Minister should still pledge allegiance to the King of England.
Oh well, yeah, but
I think that shouldn't be anymore in our tradition. I don't know.
It's a big show, though.
Okay, yes. What I'm saying is that, you know, our Prime Minister Carney, the new Prime Minister Carney,
Right.
he also, I saw his inauguration, his swearing in ceremony, and he also had to pledge allegiance to King Charles and his heirs.
Oh yes. No, that'll be gone.
I disagree with that.
Yeah,
I don't want that. I mean, no, that gotta go.
We've been on our own feet for quite a while.
Quite a while, eh? It's time to our prime ministers, our leaders, to just pledge allegiance to Canadians, you know, to fellow Canadians and all who come to join us.
But it's like the Americans; they love the king and queen too because they love the pomp and ceremony.
I don't know. I just disagree with that part of our political culture.
Yeah.
I find it annoying, to be honest.
Yeah, no. There's money involved, but it'll be over soon.
Yeah.
It'll last too much longer.
Yeah.
No, anyway.
Yeah, I hope so, because I mean that's kind of like 19th century, you know.
Oh yeah.
20th century, you know. I understand we're part of the Commonwealth. I understand the political, social, cultural dynamics of being part of the Commonwealth.
I'd like to ask Mr. Pariseau what he thinks about that.
Who?
Mr. Pariseau.
Yeah, Mr. Pariseau.
He really took on the English, the emotions and that.
I don't know what you would think. What? I'm not sure. I can't speak for him myself.
Do you think he wanted to be king or not?
King to be king?
Quebec.
No, because I believe we should be a republic.
Excuse me?
I believe we should be a republic.
Yeah.
Not a monarchy.
Yeah, well, if he had a monarchy at mindset, I think.
I don't know. I'm more on to be a republic, you know?
Oh, yeah.
The Republican system.
René Levesque and those guys, I had no problem with them, but when he came with Mr. Pariseau, they were all like,
yeah.
I can't stomach this guy too much.
You lived.
He wants to be a monarch.
So I'm more of a republic, you know, more of a Republican type of feature. The ideal government by Plato, republicanism by, representative republic.
Yeah.
Regular voting and a term limit of presidencies and
movement,
stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if Mr. Trump gets his way and has his third 4 years.
Mr. Trump, yeah.
Oh my God.
Mr. Trump, I would have voted for Democrats myself. I would have voted for Biden or Kamala Harris. I'm not a Trump supporter.
Yeah.
Are you a Trump supporter?
No, my God, no. My daughter lives in New Jersey. She wanted me to go down. I said,
I'm not a Trump supporter.
Maybe after 4 years I'll go.
Although I'm not opposed to integrating Canada and the United States.
Are you?
I'm not opposed.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily opposed. I have my own ideas and theories and propositions of how to fuse Canada and the United States, something similar to the European Union, but I'm not opposed to that idea. What I do oppose is the implementation of tariffs.
Yeah, well, he thinks he's on a winning streak with that. But
the implementation of tariffs on Canada, I think it was a main mistake because I'm an independent geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist, eh?
Yeah.
So our main geopolitical interest is to have the best, most cordial, important relations with the United States of America, but that has to be reciprocal and vice versa.
Yeah, for sure, yeah. Well, they gotta, you can't, but he thinks he can say anything, do anything, and he just loves to be in the limelight, so the worse things you say, the better, because you get the press to report on you. He's a funny guy.
I'm just a nobody, but I know geopolitics, you know?
Yeah.
I know geopolitics.
Sure.
And geopolitically, as Canadians, Quebecers, our number one concern, primarily, regardless of any exterior other factors, is to have the best, most cordial, important relations, geopolitically, politically, socially, on all levels with the United States.
Yeah.
Because we have two oceans, we have two borders.
Yeah.
And geopolitically speaking, merely from a geopolitical perspective, that's our main objective, to have the best cultural, diplomatic, financial, economic, cultural relations with our brothers and sisters in the USA.
Yeah.
But they also have to be the same.
Yeah, but keep that border in place.
You want to keep that?
Oh, yes, for sure.
Yeah?
Oh,
I don't want that.
Hey, no. Yeah.
No.
Hey, but look,
I want a common passport.
50
Common currency, common passport.
50% of their population voted that guy in. I can't believe it. I don't.
A lot.
My daughter says, hey, I talked about some guy in New York or Jersey.
Yeah.
He's a governor, I said, my God, that guy's out to lunch. And she said, oh, he's a kook. I said, yeah, he's a kook, but the problem is there's a whole bunch more of them.
So the MAGA movement is something which, of course, has to be, I have analyzed it myself quite profoundly, and it's quite a paradox.
Yeah.
It's quite a paradox, and it's something we have to move forward to now. As much as I don't know Trump personally, I object to his policies per se, to his implementation of tariffs, but we're going to have to do a deal, and we're going to have to reach a compromise with Trump.
Well, if we can just outlast him, I think he's going to get nailed. The big guys are hurting now.
Big guys?
The money guys.
You mean the Wall Street and
Wall Street
the big
guys.
stock corporations, owners, stockholders? Yeah. I'm financially stressed myself, eh? Anyways.
I'm going to sit on my few dollars.
Yeah, but I'm good. I paid my rent, paid my electricity, and have food, have a little bit of chocolate in the backpack. So I'm not a big on complaints.
You're in good shape for hiking. What more do you want?
But I'm neurodivergent, so I live with Asperger's,
Oh my God.
You know what Asperger's is?
Well, I used to, but I'm not sure now when you mention it.
So my brain is different. So socially, I can be very awkward. Making friendships, long-term friendships, has always been a difficulty to build bridges because there's a lot of misunderstandings between Asperger's because our brains are different. So we tend to be super focused on special interest, and certain times we approach people too close when we discuss like personal space. And we tend to repeat things 2-3 times and ecolalia. So a lot of people think that it's a malady, an illness.
Yeah.
But it's not that. It's just because our brains are made different.
Yeah.
So I see the world differently, So people are scared that it's something that they can catch, like a disease.
The old guys in Ireland,
Transmission.
they get right into your face when they're speaking to you.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're deaf or what it is, but I noticed the old guys are right in your face.
Yeah.
Or they can't see. I don't know what
I don't know. I've never been to Ireland to pronounce myself on the cultural inclinations of Irish from Ireland, but I would love to visit.
Yeah, anyway,
Be well. I guess I made a friend there for being neurodivergent, to get it on the discussing a little bit consequentially, but whatever the case may be, fellow citizen, senior citizen, my granddaddy, I got his back. Maybe we disagree on certain things, but at the end of the day, my call for the Dragon Army has to have his back as well as has to have the back of the youth. That's why I'm calling for the Dragon Army to be a PPP, public-private partnership, for the truckers, the butchers, the bakers, the nurses, the doctors, the grocery store clerks, all those involved in the production, distribution of food. And I guess it's like my friend says, I gotta be aware because Asperger's, we give too much information. When people ask, how are you? We're gonna say, I'm financially stressed. The reality, or if I don't feel so good, I will say it. But, because Asperger's, sometimes you just say things some more directly or tend to utilize too much academic, intellectual, sophisticated linguistic discussions, which can be simplified and do not require overly academic language to explain certain things. But bottom line is, as I was saying with my fellow, I'm going to say granddaddy or uncle, whatever, fellow member of the family of the dragon, and he's there, and I gotta have his back as all my brothers and sisters here, fellow Canadians. And when I crossed Canada coast to coast, coast to coast, coast to coast, that event made me come out of being depressed and suicidal. I was depressed. I was suicidal back in 2017. Back in 2017, I was depressed. I was suicidal. I was depressed. I was suicidal. I was depressed. I was suicidal. You know, I'm depressed and suicidal. And I crossed Canada in 2017 in August. August went to BC, British Columbia, and then in September came back, and of course went all the way to Halifax. And that event made me come out of being depressed and suicidal, and I established a strong, solid esprit de corps, strong, solid esprit de corps, strong, solid esprit de corps with my fellow Canadians, the Quebecers, Canadians, North Americans are my family. And you know, like I said, I'm not a Trump supporter, Granddaddy Trump. Just say you made a mistake, and his Dragon versus Trump have been and will continue to challenge Donald Trump to a boxing match on the Canadian-US border, ever since 2018, when he first imposed 10% tariffs on Canadian aluminum and steel back in 2018. And I've been challenging Donald Trump to a boxing match ever since, and will continue to until we build the North American people's Imperial Coliseum to be the biggest sports venue arena for sportis in perpetuitis, 24/7 sports fitness, 24/7 sports fitness, 24/7 sports fitness in perpetuities for firefighters, for butchers, for public workers, and public and private partnership. Build Canada, United States on the Canadian-US border to build the biggest sports complex, multi-sports facility arena ever built. 11 times bigger than where the hardball ball, aka blackout ball, was built. A mega structure, Canada, United States, signifying the fusion of the true north, strong and free, with the south, home of the brave, land of the free. We gotta add some LOVE up in that mother. We gotta add a little bit some love, some of that love in both north and south, eh? So we're gonna build that massive structure. And the first inauguration event is going to be Dragon versus Trump, and that's going to be 11 times bigger than the Caesar Superdome. It's going to be 11 times bigger than the Caesar Superdome. Is going to be 11 times bigger than the Caesar's Superdome. The Caesar Superdome was used to be known as the Mercedes-Benz Arena. Mercedes-Benz Arena is the Mercedes-Benz Arena, as the Mercedes-Benz Arena, and the Caesar Superdome is the Mercedes-Benz Arena. The Caesar Superdome. Before I had another name, so he changed names just like yours truly during COVID. Nobody's born a dragon, you become a dragon. Myself took blood, sweat, and tears to change that A into an O. More than 372 of my own creative workout training program system, which I made, created, consecrated in 2019, October, November, to go hand in hand with a World War III scenario to build the North American people's Imperial Coliseum, public-private partnership, 11 times to be bigger than the hardball ball, where the hardball ball, blackout ball was played, where the hardball ball, blackout ball was played, you know, where the hardball ball, blackout ball was played, and that's what I'm gonna get doing with that, you know. The hardball ball, blackout ball was played, and where my 49ers lost, and that's what we gotta get doing with that, and that's what we need to be building there, the North American People's Imperial Coliseum, you know. We gotta get it on the go, and that's why we gotta go get it, and we gotta get it on the do, you know. So we gotta go get it for the love side of things, and that's what we gotta get doing on the love. My fellow cousin there, we gotta do on the love side of things, and we gotta get it for those butchers, the bakers, the nurses, the doctors, and the firefighters, all those involved in the production, distribution of food, and that's how we gotta get doing for the massages, and maybe your fellow friends with benefits there, friends with benefits there, and that's how we gotta get doing with that, and so we gotta get doing with the XYZ, and that's what we gotta get doing with XYZ, and that's what we gotta get doing on the love side of things, you know. So it's something which we gotta get doing, you know. So it's something which we gotta get loving on that, you know. Gotta get doing on the XYZ, and gotta get on that love side, you know. Gotta get doing some of that 11 times bigger than the hardball ball, man. Hardball ball, aka blackout ball, was one of my favorite Super Bowls, where my 49ers lost. 49ers lost. 49ers lost by 3 points only to the Ravens, and one of my favorite bowls, Super Bowls of all time, top 5. For me, it's in the top 5, although my 49ers lost. There's also where my 49ers didn't play, also in the top 5 is where Tom Brady's last Super Bowl with the Patriots, where lowest score 13-3 against the Rams was the lowest score. Gotta get it on the XYZ. The lowest score Super Bowl 13-3. That's how we gotta get doing on that. And that's how we gotta get building the North American People's Imperial Coliseum to be 11 times bigger than the Hardball Ball, aka Blackout Ball, where we can have working out, training, exercising 24/7 and drills and sports in perpetuities 24/7 in parallel to the Forgotten Goddess Temple, because I will to build the Forgotten Goddess Temple, because I created me surviving COVID, which was like death, pestilence, and disease. Me surviving COVID, which was like death, pestilence, and disease. I created me surviving COVID, which was like death, pestilence, and disease, to the goddess DSS, and also will to build the Forgotten Goddess Temple for that DGA, Dancing Goddess Army, aka North American Integrated Dance League, and the pyramid, House of the Dragon, the pyramid, House of the Dragon, red, scarlet, crimson, red, scarlet, crimson, red, or crimson and scarlet are shades of red, R-E-D, red, my favorite color. So they're actually shades, crimson and scarlet shades of red, like this one here. So we're gonna build that, and we're gonna build the Rainbow People's Palace. Oh yeah, I feel good. I see the field. I love yellow flowers. Feel the yellow flowers. I just love the yellow flowers. Look at that. So many. We gotta get it on to do with that and build those 444, the Rainbow People's Palace, for my fellow LGBTQ community, homosexuals, lesbian, because I'm androgynous, pansexual, 50-50, and neurodivergent community as well, and the Imperial People's, North American People's Imperial Coliseum. A Coliseum to be 11 times bigger than the current named Caesar Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana, New Orleans. It is situated, so to be 11 times bigger than that, where one of my favorite Super Bowls, the Hardball Ball, aka Blackout Ball, was played about 11 years ago. Hardball Ball, aka Hardball is a surname, also known as the Bro Ball, aka Blackout Ball, because for more than half an hour, 44 minutes, 45, close to 45, something like that. Got to double check the numbers, but for a considerable amount of time, just half of the stadium just went pitch black, blackout. For half of the stadium went pitch black, blackout for half of, like, for a long time. Not just a minute or 2 or 5, but more than half an hour. The stadium went completely half, like 50-50, like a blackout, like half, 50-50 blackout, 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 like pitch black. And some people have went into the conspiracy theories, but I'm not a big fan of conspiracy theories. And of course, there are people who have conspired assassination of Caesar and other frauds and other things and other case, but not in this case. I don't know, but some people say that there's something, that it was planned, Some go into more esoteric occult, mystic things, which I guess if you want to research it yourself. Blackout Ball, aka Hardball Ball, was also the only one where two brothers faced each other in the Super Bowl. And now, of course, it's such a rare, like, what are the odds, right, that at the biggest sports event of the United States of America, of the USA, the most powerful nation on the planet, economic, military, commercial, military, that the most important, like, kind of holy grail, if you will, Super Bowl. And I've been advocating for participating 7 years now, that it happens, that the half of the lights went off, like blackout, and some go into esoteric, mystic, occult ideology, iconography, ideology, spiritual, mystic, occult stuff, because they said it went half, and the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers was, I'm missing Jim John, Jim, John Jim, John Jim, Jim John, and the other one was Jim or John Harbaugh, the same surname, Harbaugh, Harbaugh. So, and it has never happened since, right? Because what are the odds that the odds are so that two brothers, biologically related, that they're meet each other, opposing teams. They're both head coaches of opposing teams. Opposing teams, head coaches of opposing teams. Can you imagine? Can you imagine that? Like, and it was a really, really good game. And plus, it goes half, because you can say half. It could be either or, San Francisco or Ravens, and half of the stadium goes completely black, pitch black, blackout. So, I don't know. Some say it was a deliberate conspiracy, and I'm not gonna go into that because I don't know much about it. I know there is a lot of theories out there, but what I do know, I'm gonna speak on what I know. I have survived COVID in 2020, February, March. It was like death, pestilence, and disease. It was like death, pestilence, and disease. It was like death, pestilence, and disease. And I say it was like death, pestilence, and disease. Oh, my enemies, please. I know that it sounds like a hardcore band or death thrash metal song. Death, pestilence, and disease. Oh, my enemies, please. But that's how I felt. It felt like it was death, pestilence, and disease inside of me. COVID. So I survived that. I'm like, wow. I thought I was gonna die. I really thought that was my last chapter. I thought it was like my last chapter. And the whole duration of me, from the beginning of having the symptoms till the end, it was almost like 45 days. Almost 45 days. It's like a few weeks. 2 weeks was intense. I thought I was gonna die. I said, this is my last chapter, and I survived. And I went and got vaccinated, because when I had it right between February 2020 and March 2020, there were no vaccines. The word COVID, coronavirus, did not even pop into existence, kind of. But of course, since then, we learned last year that supposedly coronavirus origins lay in Wuhan, in a laboratory. It is man-made in a lab. So my trinity on COVID has been, is, and will be this. First and foremost, I do not know what caused COVID, coronavirus. Second, first, I believe it was snakes, which transmitted COVID to human beings. Second, I don't know for sure. Third, I cannot rule out another possibility, whatever that possibility might be. So that's my trinity on COVID. First, I believe it was snakes to human beings. Second, I don't know for sure. And third, I cannot rule out another possibility. Fourth dimension to that trinity is what I do know for sure, without a doubt, is that before COVID back in 2019, I have predicted that in the coming 7 years, so starting October, November 2019, there's going to be an international conflagration. There's going to be an international conflagration coming in the world. In other words, I predicted a World War III type of scenario situation is going to unfold in the coming 7 years. So in many ways, of course, having predicted that, I have been living with that condition ever since. With that prediction, that condition, and I've been in a World War III type of mode ever since. Ever since I've been kind of in a World War III type of mode myself, and I've created a workout training program system to go hand in hand with such a scenario. I created a workout training program system to go hand in hand with such a scenario as aforementioned. In 2018, I created what's called, officially titled, the General War Integrated Total Body Training System, which is a simple, effective workout training program system which requires no equipment, and of course is the coequivalency to go hand in hand with such an event. And I encourage people to work out, train, exercise with it, and I encourage it to be adopted in the high schools and universities and all security forces, armed forces of both Canada, NORAD complex, Canada, United States Security Forces, Armed Forces, Police Forces, Police Academies, Police Forces, Security Forces. The General Integrated Whole Body Training System, simple, effective, efficient, requires no equipment. It is meant to increase general overall fitness. I myself have performed more than 372 sessions. And of course, it's also named the Dragon Army workout. The Dragon Army workout. And that's what it is with that. The Dragon Army workout, consequently, is also known as the General Integrated Whole Body Training System. And look at that, whipping willow. There's a whipping willow right there. Isn't that something? Kind of like the only whipping willow, which is kind of just there, kind of in semi-position. But back now, I'm going to discuss, of course, I am an independent geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist who has predicted what's happening now in a general manner. And of course, I will to discuss now, of course, my trinity of ideas, but especially the DRT, part of my dream, pledge your allegiance, allegiance to our family. Pledge your allegiance, allegiance to our family. Pledge your allegiance, allegiance to our family is the song, and I'm going to discuss now the DRT because the death row fusion theory is part of my dream, of which it is the fusion of Canada and United States for a PPP in order to create the two complementary covenant and cooperative institutions, the Dragon Army, aka the North American Imperial People's Security Service and Defense Force, Integrated Security Service and Defense Force, Canada, United States, 63 legions, 1% mobilized of the population, men, women, trans, whatever the case may be. The de facto examination is to be able to do the General War Integrated Whole Body Training System and to integrate with all existing public and private security forces and institutions for the SSD to do a great North American collective census to get rid of the border, create a common currency in mass finance, healthcare, the rebuilding of the ghettos, the North American integrated ghetto rebuilding, and the North American collective rebuilding of the infrastructure, public housing, and the rehabilitation of the infrastructure and the public spaces and the public parks via the DRT, death row fusion theory, which I'm now going to discuss. The death row fusion theory, the DRT, death row fusion theory for the creation of the UE. So the DRT, death row fusion theory, stands for D, death, R, row fusion, T for theory. The DRT, death row fusion theory, is of course the only solution or something similar, which has to be as a solution, since we have paid last year 46.5 billion in interest. 46.5 billion in interest we paid last year on the public debt. Can you imagine such a high amount of public interest? Just the interest on the public debt which we paid was staggering and so much which we paid on the public debt. That's a lot. 46.5 billion. 46.5 billion. That is a huge amount. 46.5 billion. Can you imagine that? A billion has a million. A billion is 9 zeros. A million has 6 zeros. A billion has 1,000 million. So that's 9 zeros. So that is consequently which we got 46,000 million. So the amount which was in 2021 was 20.3 billion. Double is 40.6. Whoop, watch us so you don't step on the little creature. On the little creature. Anyway, so that is 46.5 billion just in interest last year. And yes, due to COVID, due to the coronavirus, it made it that the amount is so much due to the coronavirus. COVID made it so. Yes, we had to implement programs, protocols which had to sustain the population in the dire financial, economic, commercial situation. There had to be the implementation of the aforementioned. But the fact is that the number is just 46,000 million. So the number has more than doubled from 20.3, which was in 2021. And yes, due to coronavirus programs, the COVID-induced programs which had to be implemented in order to sustain the population, in order to make the population, of course, secure and at least to not lose the housing and the jobs and the precarious financial situation which caused COVID for the majority of the population, and ever since, more downgrading and more financial situation in both the public and the private for both Canada. King is absent. It's time for the Republic, and the United States are living a similar public and private financial situation. It's possible that when I go back home, I see that there's a public financial collapse of Canada. A public financial collapse of Canada is on the horizon. A black swan event. It's an emergency type of situation in the public finances, because consequently, if you make the calculation from a private citizen perspective, an individual's finances, if the interest, I don't have credit cards myself, but let's say citizen X, Y, or Z has interest payments that has to do on the credit cards, and in 2020, 2021, the number went from 156 to more than double, because that's what happened with the interest which we pay on the public at the macro level, public Canadian public debt, with the public Canadian public debt and the public Canadian public debt and the public Canadian public debt, and that's how we have to do consequently. So we're going to take, in consequence, the micro perspective level as an individual citizen who has to pay $156 double. That's $312, but if it's more than double, that means it would be like $333 from $156. Let's say citizen X paid in 2020, 2021, it goes to $333. That consequently is more than double. So the individual citizen has to reduce the spending. The budget has to be cut, has to be spent. The budget has to be cut automatically. There's no way out of that, right? So automatically one has to reduce and cut the spending and the budget. That's just how it is. So inversely, at the macro level, at the public level, also that same mathematical principia applies. We're going to have to cut and reduce the spending. What are we going to cut? The public sanitation, those who pick up the garbage, the compost, the recycling, the national defense, security, army, the police, RCMP, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, the prisons. That looks like the island of Montreal, see? Wow, that looks exactly like the island of Montreal, From above, like a bird, like a hawk. Because I live on an island metropolis, 2.5 million people, Montreal, Hawk Island, Montreal. So consequently, we're on the verge of a public financial collapse, because we have to really start cutting the spending now on the public services. So healthcare, police, security. So yeah, it's a big potential of a black swan event. There's no way out of this but my debt refusion theory, or something which resembles my DRT debt refusion theory, or which resembles my debt refusion theory. Has to be something very similar, which resembles my DRT debt refusion theory, my debt refusion theory, my DRT debt refusion theory, my DRT, my debt refusion theory. Consequently, it has to be my DRT debt refusion theory. So that's what we gotta get doing with that. My debt refusion theory to be for the consequential creation of the UE. So I'm gonna explain it as simple as I can without be doing verbose, but I just wanna see something here. For the goddess, let's build a temple. We can use these rocks, paint them some green, and lots of rocks to build the forgotten goddess Judy DSS temple, which I created because I got 718 trillions of kisses, 718 for all my allies and armies. I got 718 trillions of kisses for all my allies and armies. Pledge your allegiance. I got 718 trillions of kisses. You heard that right, credited from the forgotten goddess. Trillions of kisses from the forgotten goddess. And back to the DRT. The debt refusion theory, something similar has to be implemented. There's no way where we are now, today, with both the public and the private financial situation. Consequently, there's just no way. There's just no way out of this. We're on the verge of a public financial collapse. You realize that we're on the verge of a public collapse. We're on the verge of a public financial collapse. That's just how it is. There's just no way out of the situation where we are now. Consequently, the only solution is the DRT or something very similar. So I'm going to explain it. So again, it's possible that when I go back home, I left early, There's the Hawk, H-A-W-K. You see how it flies? It just planes, doesn't flip the wings much. So that's my totem bird, the hawk, my totem bird, the hawk. So we're gonna take all the public and the private debt, and keep in mind that my DRT theory contains in it monetary integration theory. And monetary integration theory is the financial theory which was implemented in the European Union. In the European Union. My monetary integration theory, in my debt refusion theory, is integrated monetary integration theory, which is the financial theory which was implemented in the European Union. So we're gonna take all the public and the private debt, including my $10,000. So my $10,000, your $10,000, whatever the case may be. My $10,000, your $10,000, their $10,000, whatever the case may be. So all the public and the private debt, we're gonna take my 10,000, your 10,000, all the public and the private debt, including my 10,000, coast to coast. We're gonna convert it to US dollars. That money is gonna be the initial money supply for a new central bank. That money is gonna be the initial money supply. All the public private debt converted into US dollars is gonna be the initial money supply for a new central bank. Consequently, we're gonna create a new currency, but we're gonna have to add it with all the public and the private debt of the United States, because it has to be implemented. Canada, United States simultaneously. Canada, United States. United States simultaneously. Canada, United States simultaneously. So all the public private debt of Canada converted to US dollar, we're gonna add it with the United States dollar. Consequently, all that money, we're gonna add it up in order to create a new central bank. So we're gonna create a new North American integrated central bank, and we're gonna issue, because remember, in my debt refusion theory, in my DRT theory, it's included, the monetary integration theory is included in it. So we're gonna take all the public and the private debt. All that money is gonna be the initial money supply for a new central bank. We're gonna create a currency called the UE, based on the value of the US dollar. UE, U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit. U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit. The UE, 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 the UE. The U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit. The U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit. The universal exchange unit. The universal exchange unit, the UE, is gonna have the value of the United States dollar. The value of the United States dollar, the UE, the universal exchange unit. So we're gonna create all the public and the private debt, the universal exchange unit, the universal exchange unit, the UE, the UE, the UE, the universal exchange unit, the universal exchange unit. We're gonna create the UE, the universal exchange unit, based on the value of the US dollar. All that money was gonna have to be the universal exchange. We're gonna have to create the UE. So all that money is gonna be in the trillions. So that's gonna be the initial money supply. All the debt, public and private debt, and we gotta clean here. Get that DGA dancing goddess army to clean. So by implementing my DRT theory, we're gonna be able to do lots of that public good and public service. So all the money, public-private debt, is going to be the initial money supply in circulation. All the money, debt, public and private debt, all that money is going to be the initial money supply. So all the debt, public and private debt. So all the public and the private debt is going to be the initial money supply. Convert the Canadian public private debt, my 10,000 included, to the RBC. I got a credit line, $10,000 I'm in debt to the Royal Bank of Canada. So my debt, your debt, our debt, coast to coast, ocean to ocean. We're gonna convert it into US dollars. So that money is gonna be created into US dollars. Add it up, coast to coast, ocean to ocean. Add it up, coast to coast, ocean to ocean. We're gonna add it up. That money is gonna be the initial money supply for a new central bank. for a new central bank. That money is going to be the initial money supply for a new central bank. With that money, we're going to be rebuilding the infrastructure of the North American Collective, rebuilding the infrastructure so you can go there, have some fun. We're going to rebuild the infrastructure of the North American Collective, rebuild the infrastructure, the aqueducts, the sewers, rebuild the aqueducts, rebuild the sewers, the aqueducts, mass finance citizens to work out, train, exercise, mass finance citizens fitness, mass finance regular physical activity, mass finance tourism, because it did me lots of good. So we're going to be able to finance and build and support the financial complementary covenant and cooperative institutions, the Dancing Goddess Army, the DGA, aka the North American Integrated Dance League, to clean the environment for environmental education such as this, for environmental education such as cleaning things here and cleaning all over North America, Quebec, Canada, Montreal, Hawk Island first, and throughout the North American Collective, and of course the Dragon Army, the North American Imperial People's Security Service and Defense Force, the North American B-Boys Security Service and Defense Force, the North American Collective Security Service and Defense Force, and my fellow citizen there going on a jog, cousin, and poodles I can pet, poodles I can pet. Other dogs make me sneeze a bit, and we're going to be able to rebuild the infrastructure, build bridges, and start constructing, building those 44 tunnels in case of a thermonuclear war. We're going to have to build those tunnels in case of a thermonuclear war ASAP, because it's a possibility of a nuclear war. And just a few days ago we saw a mass explosion in China, supposedly a non-nuclear mass explosion, which of course is the equivalent of a super weapon. And of course, supposedly Beyonce's Girls Run the World, Girls Run the World, Girls Run the World. I saw it again. I have to watch it again. Supposedly, it predicted what's been happening since COVID in the world, since the past 5 years. And this was like a music video, which came about more than 11 years ago. And supposedly, it predicts now. Because at one point, it shows like a super weapon explosion. Just like, but if, to be honest, I'm not much into conspiracy theories and prediction, but it really seems very similar to what the footages and the images of the explosion in China showed. So I'm like, wow, it kind of does seem, that it predicted, or by just mere iconography and the imagery that the artists, the directors wanted to portray in the movie, which kind of involves riots and seemingly riots and revolution and even a what seemed like a nuclear or super weapon explosion at one point. You gotta check it for yourself to make your own decision, I guess. But of course, it's called Girls Run the World. Girls Run the World is a music video. I'm not sure exactly what year it came. At least more than 11 years ago, because my memory goes rah. Retrograde amnesia. I got lots of memory blackouts. So I remember moving from a moldy place in Montreal about more than 10 years ago. It might come to be 10 years soon. Might come to be 10 years soon. So wow. So then my memory, 11 years, 2014, summer, and then I got a blackout, September 2014. Before that, it's kind of blackout, man. It's kind of like, kind of like a blackout. Weirdly enough, because I'm a geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist with Asperger's, and really before that terrorist group started arising, the Islamic State, and supposedly now it's back in business, and where we got involved with Canada, and where myself I've made some independent citizen security for national security. I've been cooperating with CSIS in the past years, and RCMP and CSIS, because matters of terrorism and national security, sometimes we gotta take them very seriously, because now we have our vulnerabilities even more now because of our involvement with providing military support to go against superpowers. Superpowers is we are our neighbors are a superpower, but fusing Canada and United States in my dream, the dancing goddess in the Dragon Kingdom and the Dragon Army for the 63 legions, 10 provinces, 3 territories, and 50 states. That's 10 plus 3 is 13, like the original 13 states, plus the 50. That's 63 legions for the North American Collective Fuse for SSD only. Coast to coast, ocean to ocean, SSD and SSD, security service and defense principle, and building those 44 tunnels. Start building inspired by the Cheyenne Mountain Complex to start building the 44 tunnels. Inspired by the Cheyenne Mountain Complex, and we need to build massive public-private partnership by my DRT, those 44 tunnels, and get the North American Criminal Rehabilitation Act and start building those 44 tunnels in case of a thermonuclear war, and of course to securitize and build new 3G, 4G, 5G, new 5G, 6G, new 5G and 6G, and to get public-private partnership to have mega centers where citizens can go and volunteer and monitor with webcams all over North American Collective, with all the transportation, all the neighborhoods, and to do a lot of total security for total securing of liberty and regeneration and recreation, and total security for total liberty and a rejuvenation of the prosperity. And anybody who wants to finance me, that I go up and down these stairs 300 times, fire to the Dragon versus Trump, 300 times I go up and down. Dragon versus Trump, let's fight on the Canadian-US border. Let's go, brother Bill Gates, Scorpio, for total security, and have massive building of centers where citizens can go and monitor all the highways, hundreds and thousands, and put hundreds of thousands of webcams integrated by the Dragon Army, security, service, and defense, total security, total service, total defense, SSD principle, and massages with consent, rebuilding and volunteering, and fitness sports, and building the North American People's Imperial Coliseum. Together, North Americans, my 44.9 million brothers and sisters were blacks, my neighbors included, part of my family. Rebuild the ghettos, the North American ghettos, the North American inner urban cities, and get the North American Criminal Rehabilitation Act, and get some of that rock and roll, and gonna go on the side, and gonna go down, I'm gonna switch, and gonna go back into the sun. And that's downtown Montreal, Hawk Island. That's downtown Hawk Island, Montreal. That's downtown Hawk Island, Montreal. And there we are. We've seen a little bit of that downtown. And now we're gonna go on that down. Gonna go drill it down. Gonna go drill it down, and gonna go on the trajectory, and that's what we're gonna go on here slow, and gonna get it for that French, because we're in La Belle Province, and gonna check what's written there on the bench. So grateful, thankful my rent's paid and electricity bill's paid, got food and coffee, and gotta go for that whole security, service, and defense, because we're open for potential sabotage and espionage, and we gotta get that SSD, do a census to see everybody who's been living here since 7 years ago, and see, of course, the peaceful resolution with non-NATO member diaspora communities, the peaceful resolution with non-NATO member diaspora communities, the peaceful resolution with non-NATO member diaspora communities. We're part of not the NATO security complex, because we're NORAD NATO, and we're going to take NORAD and NATO to the second level in the 21st century. SSD, security, service, and defense. Dragon Army, pledge your allegiance. Now we're going to switch a little bit with that French, because we're in La Belle Province. So please, just no pollution. Please, just no pollution. Gotta be mindful, not to pollute, and don't mind citizens smoking here. It's okay to smoke and enjoy, but now we're gonna get it for that loving. And butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, firefighters, grocery store clerks, the butchers, the bakers, the nurses, the doctors, the firefighters, LOV to the firefighters. Somebody gotta sing some rock and roll to the police. Nobody's perfect. That includes that me and you. We gotta, as I sing also for my brothers and sisters who did their criminal rehabilitation, we gotta get the debt refusion theory, create the UE, U.universal, E.exchange, U.unit for the total digitalization of the currency and create mass. Pledge allegiance. En français, bienvenue. Votre dragon arc-en-ciel, je vous encourage à l'entraînement physique. Je suis parti pour faire de l'entraînement physique aujourd'hui. Bien sûr, j'ai la gratitude. Je commence avec la gratitude. Mon loyer est payé. J'ai payé ma facture d'électricité. J'ai du café visité. Puis je fais bien sûr une méditation en géopolitique comme je le fais bien sûr au quotidien. Vous savez que j'ai la condition de l'Asperger's. Donc c'est mon intérêt spécial ou ce que je connais comme l'intérêt obsessif. Puis c'est vraiment 24 sur 24. Même maintenant, mon cerveau, tu sais, je viens de voir le train. Je viens de voir le véhicules de l'Hydro-Québec, je viens de voir d'autres véhicules de transport, je viens de voir les camionneurs, puis je viens de voir ce complexe de transport ici, et bien sûr les autoroutes. Et je mets ça dans un contexte de la géopolitique, car je sais que maintenant de nos jours, on est ouvert au sabotage et à l'espionnage, donc on est vulnérable, donc on a des vulnérabilités dans cette proposition qu'on est rendu, bien sûr, à avoir, même qu'on est ouvert à de l'espionnage puis du sabotage, bien sûr, car on s'est impliqué, pas nous-mêmes, moi-même personnellement, les décisions, mais on s'est impliqué d'une manière militaire, pas seulement humanitaire et financière, mais d'une manière de donner puis des armes militaires à une superpuissance. Et puis, bien sûr, par cela, ce geste géopolitique, on s'est fait des ennemis potentiels. C'est ce que j'appelle le collectif de l'Amérique du Nord ou le complexe de civilisation de l'Amérique du Nord, car on constitue un complexe émergent de civilisation. Merci les pompiers, bien sûr. C'est quelque chose qu'il faut qu'on pense toujours, parce qu'on est les Québécois et Québécoises, ou ma famille, des fois on est dysfonctionnel, mais on constitue un complexe de la géopolitique, un complexe de civilisation. Fait que dans ce complexe de la civilisation, bien sûr, dans cette constitution de complexité, bien sûr, qu'on se ramasse, puis on fait des méditations au quotidien, comme moi, bien sûr, avec l'Asperger's, avec l'autisme hautement fonctionnel, c'est quelque chose que je dois faire et c'est quelque chose que je dois y constater, bien sûr, au quotidien. C'est ça mes activités, bien sûr, puis c'est le sport, l'entraînement physique et la danse, et l'entraînement physique et la danse, et le sport, bien sûr, de l'entraînement physique, que ça soit ici. Puis bien sûr, dans ce complexe de la géopolitique, bien sûr, je suis un analyste et théoricien en géopolitique indépendant qui a prévu qu'est-ce qui se passe en ce moment, qui a prévu qu'est-ce qui se passe en ce moment, qui a prévu qu'est-ce qui se passe en ce moment. Et c'est des choses, bien sûr, qu'il faut que je fasse moi-même dans ce complexe de la civilisation. Puis bien sûr, avoir la gratitude, car c'est quelque chose que je dois le savoir, puis c'est quelque chose que je dois, bien sûr, le penser, puis c'est bien sûr que je dois travailler avec les forces que j'ai, puis c'est des choses que moi-même j'ai de la difficulté, parce qu'à cause de l'Asperger's, l'autisme hautement fonctionnel, mon cerveau est différent, fait qu'il y a bien des choses que j'ai de la misère, ou de la communication non verbale, la communication verbale, et bien sûr les choses, des normes non écrites de la société, mais je vois qu'on a bien du travail à faire, du ramassage ici pour la poubelle, pour le compostage, puis pour l'environnement, parce que ça prend bien sûr l'individu, si je le fais pas moi-même, en tant qu'individu, pour l'environnement, le recyclage, puis pour le français aussi, comme je discutais avec un concitoyen, mais je disais, puis on discutait, puis je parlais de ci, puis de ça, puis on parlait un peu, je dis, vous savez, on m'a demandé, je suis célibataire, mais j'ai dit, vous savez que moi, je suis pansexuel, androgène pansexuel, monsieur, madame, homme-femme, puis, moi, c'est les hommes et les femmes, c'est une fois par année, la parade gay, mais moi j'en fais partie 24 sur 24. Je suis pansexuel, je veux dire que pansexualité, être pansexuel, ça veut dire que je suis bisexuel et gay aussi. Fait que, je suis homosexuel, je suis bisexuel, puis je suis pansexuel, parce que pansexuel, ça inclut être homosexuel, puis être bisexuel. Là. Fait que c'est des choses comme ça que je dois l'être moi-même, et c'est des choses comme ça que je dois l'être dans cette circonstance, puis c'est des choses comme ça que je dois être dans cette circonstance de conflagration d'où que je le vis maintenant. Et bien sûr, je suis en crise, en stress financier, mais bien sûr, mon stress financier, ma crise financière. Financièrement, j'ai un stress, puis j'ai perdu beaucoup d'amis à cause de l'Asperger's, l'autisme hautement fonctionnel. Les dernières années, je me suis fait beaucoup d'amis, mais bien sûr, je suis quand même jovial, je suis quelqu'un de joyeux, je suis quelqu'un de content, tu sais. Je suis pas quelqu'un qui... J'ai vécu la dépression, j'ai vécu le suicidaire, puis malheureusement, dans ma communauté, qui est une petite minorité de communauté de gens qui ont l'Asperger's, l'autisme hautement fonctionnel. Tu sais, l'autisme hautement fonctionnel, ça fait qu'on est divergent. On a cette caractéristique de divergence. Fait que nous-mêmes, tu sais, malheureusement, il y a beaucoup il n'y a pas beaucoup d'Asperger's comme moi-même. Notre cerveau est différent. C'est pas une maladie mentale, c'est que notre cerveau est fait d'une manière différente. Fait que des certaines choses qu'on a de la misère. Fait que bien sûr, pour faire de la misère, qu'on a de la misère dans certaines choses, on peut être bon dans d'autres choses. Puis bien sûr, c'est la géopolitique pour moi-même, le rock'n'roll, puis l'analyse, puis la théorie en géopolitique. Puis encore que je dois dire, je répète, j'ai prévu qu'est-ce qui se passe maintenant en 2019. J'ai la preuve, j'ai la vidéo en ligne, c'est ça que je fais au quotidien depuis les années. J'analyse, puis je théorise, je suis un analyste, un théoricien en géopolitique indépendant. Et en 2019, et je prends beaucoup de fierté dans mon travail indépendant en géopolitique, j'ai prévu qu'est-ce qui se passe maintenant. Mais bon, pour dire que je fais partie de cette minorité de moins d'1%, moins de la moitié d'1%, c'est 0,44%. Fait qu'il n'y en a pas beaucoup, là, d'Aspi, des Asperger's comme moi-même. Fait que je dois toujours mettre dans le contexte de ma neurodivergence parce que ce n'est pas une maladie mentale, c'est juste que moi, comme les autres Asperger's, les Aspi qu'on nous appelle, notre cerveau est différent. Fait que je dois toujours faire des manœuvres, faire des efforts pour bâtir des ponts envers moi-même et envers les autres. De cette manière, tu sais. Fait que c'est toujours quelque chose, de, bien sûr, qu'il faut que je fasse ce point de la convergence et de l'histoire, bien sûr. Bon, pour dire que j'ai prévu qu'est-ce qui se passe maintenant. J'ai prévu qu'est-ce qui se passe maintenant en 2019. Et bien sûr, j'ai prévu qu'est-ce qui se passe en ce moment en 2019. J'étais en dépression, j'étais suicidaire avant 2017. En 2017, j'ai traversé le Canada de côte à côte. En 2017, j'ai traversé le Canada de côte à côte. En 2017, en août et en septembre, je suis allé à Vancouver, Colombie-Britannique. Puis en septembre, je suis allé à Halifax, en Nouvelle-Écosse. Cet événement, ça m'a complètement changé ma vie. Avant ça, j'étais en dépression, j'étais suicidaire. Ça m'a tout changé ma vie, là. J'étais comme, wow! Quel pays, quel beau pays, long et large. J'ai établi un esprit de corps solide avec le Québec, les Québécois et les Québécoises. Les Canadiens, vous êtes ma famille. Nos frères et sœurs des 50 États des États-Unis aussi. Et bien sûr avec les États-Unis. Et bien sûr avec les Québécois et Québécoises. Et bien sûr avec les autres. Tous ceux qui veulent être ma famille, prêter allégeance les gens, tu sais. Vous êtes famille. Les gens me tassaient un peu parce que je vais pas bien, mais c'est des chiens qui ont peut-être le poil long, là, puis je commence à éternuer s'ils s'approchent trop de mon visage ou de mon corps, sauf les poodles. Fait que dans cette conséquence que je dois faire moi-même, et en traversant le Canada, bien sûr, j'ai traversé le Canada moi-même, puis en traversant le Canada, mais j'ai traversé le Canada, fait que en traversant le Canada, j'ai établi un esprit de corps solide. Et depuis ce temps-là, je fais de l'entraînement physique. J'ai perdu entre 80 et 93 livres. Entre 80 et 93 livres. Entre 80 et 93 livres. C'est beaucoup quand même, là. J'ai créé mon propre système d'entraînement physique dont je suis fier. Cette création, par exemple, c'est un paradoxe parce que vous savez qu'en 2019, en octobre, en novembre, moi-même, j'avais prévu que dans les 7 prochaines années, fait que commençant d'octobre en novembre, j'ai donné un plateau de 7 ans du futur, donc octobre-novembre 2019 jusqu'à octobre-novembre 2026. J'avais prévu qu'il y aura une conflagration internationale, soit une autre guerre mondiale, la 3e guerre mondiale, soit la 3e guerre mondiale. Fait que je suis dans cette mode de vie comme dans un style de mode de vie de 3e guerre mondiale depuis 2019, octobre-novembre. Puis en conséquence, j'ai créé un système d'entraînement physique parce que vous savez, le sport, l'entraînement physique, c'est quelque chose qui m'intéresse, qui me préoccupe. Parallèlement à mon intérêt spécial, je connais comme intérêt obsessif, mais je préfère utiliser le mot intérêt spécial. C'est la géopolitique et le rock'n'roll. C'est ma trinité parce que les Aspi, nous les Asperger's, on a ces intérêts-là. Puis malheureusement, il y a quand même ces intérêts-là. On est super concentré, super dedans, super intense. Intense. Mais malheureusement, des fois, les Aspi, comme moi-même, incluant moi-même, les Asperger's, on néglige d'autres parties de notre quotidien. Fait qu'on néglige d'autres parties de notre quotidien. On néglige d'autres parties de notre quotidien. Fait qu'on néglige d'autres parties de notre quotidien. Fait que bien sûr, dans cette constatation, bien sûr, c'est quelque chose que je dois quand même moi-même faire un point d'envergence et bien sûr faire toujours être conscient que je dois quand même faire d'autres choses, mettons nettoyer la chambre, puis je porte l'hygiène, je garde les protocoles hygiéniques depuis la COVID. J'ai survécu la COVID. Hein. Je l'ai eu en 2020, février-mars, je pensais que j'allais mourir. Là. Je pensais que c'était mon dernier chapitre. Là. C'était vraiment comme la mort, la pestilence, la maladie. C'était comme la mort, la pestilence, la maladie. C'était vraiment comme la mort, la pestilence, la maladie. Je sais que ça sonne comme une chanson de rock'n'roll. La mort, la pestilence, puis la maladie. Mais c'est ça que j'ai ressenti. Je pensais que j'allais mourir, mais... J'ai survécu, puis je suis ici content, jovial, joyeux, content, mais quand même, j'ai eu un stress financier, là, mais je me suis acheté des papiers à toilette en moitié prix, de la paix en chocolat blanc et en chocolat noir à 1$. J'en ai acheté un blanc, un noir pour mon ami anonyme, qui n'a pas été mon ami à cause de l'argent, parce que j'en ai jamais eu, hein, moi-même, moi, hein. Puis j'ai acheté 2 pour moi, 2 blancs, chocolat blanc, la paix en chocolat blanc, c'était 1$. De 4,99, c'était réduit à 1$. Fait comme 80% de réduction. Là. C'était un cinquième du prix à 1$. Ils vendaient ça à 5$, 4,99$. Là. Fait qu'il était cher, mais là, les Pâques sont passés. Fait qu'il restait pas beaucoup. J'en ai laissé d'autres pour quelqu'un d'autre, là, parce qu'il y avait une limite d'achat. Là. J'ai pas acheté la limite, là, mais j'ai acheté pour moi parce que j'avais pas beaucoup d'argent pour acheter non plus. Hey, c'était un épervier, ça. Vous avez vu, là, l'épervier qui est là. Hawk, hawk, hawk. L'épervier, c'est mon animal. Hawk, hawk, hawk. Ah, c'est un bon signe, là, céleste. Ça, c'est les éperviers, ça. Hawks en anglais, c'est hawk, H-A-W-K. H-A-W-K, c'est des éperviers. Vous voyez comment ils volent, ils flattent pas leurs ailes. Ben, ils flattent de temps en temps comme là, mais après ça, ils flattent pas pendant un bout. Vous les voyez, hein? Checkez ça. Ça, c'est des éperviers, ça. Vous voyez là-dedans? C'est des éperviers, ça, mes chers. Vous voyez ça? Hawks, Hawk, H-A-W-K. C'est des éperviers, Hawk. Et voilà. C'est ça, c'est un épervier. Bon, pour dire là, que j'ai sorti de ma dépression, en 2017, quand j'ai traversé le Canada, j'ai établi un esprit de corps solide avec le Québec, le Canada puis le Collectif de l'Amérique du Nord en tant que philosophe. Mes théories puis mes propos on constitue un collectif de civilisation. Puis je dis à mes chers qui vont voter, mais puis à Mark Carney, tu sais, mon cousin, mais je dis, ben voilà, tu sais, le roi est absent, le roi est absent, là, le roi est absent, le roi est absent, le roi est absent. C'est le temps pour la République, tu sais. Moi, j'ai pas bien aimé ça, que Mark Carney prête allégeance au roi Charles puis ses héritiers, là. Je pense que ça c'est quelque chose du 20e siècle, là. Ça a plus de place. C'est le temps de finir avec ça, puis c'est le temps de finir avec ça, puis c'est le temps d'avoir une république, puis c'est le temps pour mon rêve, qui se manifeste comme le royaume de la déesse et du dragon qui danse pour bâtir et fusionner avec les États-Unis d'une manière parallèlement du collectif de l'Amérique du Nord, puis faire l'implémentation de ma théorie, soit la théorie d'intégration citoyenne, la théorie de la refusion de la dette, la théorie de la fusion démocratique, par la constitution de 2 institutions complémentaires de PPP, Partenariat Public-Privé, l'armée de la déesse qui danse, l'armée de la déesse qui danse, l'armée de la déesse qui danse, pour l'environnement, pour le plaisir, puis l'armée du dragon, des 63 légions mobilisées pour la sécurité, pour le service, puis la défense, intégrées avec tous les services de sécurité puis de police qui existent, soit pour la SSD, sécurité, service, puis défense, SSD, sécurité, service, défense, SSD, sécurité, service, défense, pour l'environnement, la SSD, pour la sécurité, puis le service, puis la défense, ce qui constitue en ce moment de la SSD, des SSD, sécurité, puis service, puis défense, ce qui constitue en ce moment pour le collectif de l'Amérique du Nord, pour la défense de côte à côte, pour bâtir et construire les 44 tunnels dans le cas d'une guerre thermonucléaire, puis bien sûr pour financer les gens, faire l'entraînement physique, rebâtir les aqueducs, les infrastructures, les ponts, puis financer les gens au tourisme parce que ça fait du bien, puis les 10 provinces du Canada avec les 3 territoires, ça en fait 13 entités politiques fusionnées pour les 63 légions pour la sécurité, pour la service, pour la défense, soit l'armée du dragon, puis qu'on constitue le collectif sur l'Amérique du Nord pour l'avenir de l'Union de la République d'une manière républicaine-démocrate, un centrisme révolutionnaire, puis l'implémentation de ma TRD. C'est urgent, ça presse. Fait que là, je vais en discuter la TRD, théorie de la réfusion de la dette. Théorie de la réfusion de la dette, c'est ma solution, puis c'est la seule unique solution, mais quelque chose qui ressemble à ma solution, c'est la solution, car l'année passée, on a payé 46,5 milliards d'intérêts sur la dette publique. Fait qu'imaginez-vous qu'un chiffre de 46,5 milliards, ça fait 46,5 milliards. Pensez-y à ça une seconde. 1 milliard, c'est en 9 zéros, c'est pas 8, c'est pas 7, là. 1 million, c'est à la 6 zéros. L'année passée, on avait payé 46 000 millions. 46,5 milliards. 46,5 milliards, c'est un chiffre énorme. Fait que ça a sauté en 3 ans. C'est sûr qu'à cause de la COVID qui a provoqué qu'on a dû implémenter les programmes pour le soutien de la population dans cette crise de la coronavirus, c'était 20,3 milliards. 20,3 milliards double, c'est 40,3 milliards. 40,6. 20,3 fois 2, double de 20,3 mathématiques. Le calcul, c'est 40,6. Fait que si vous remarquez que ça a plus que doublé en 3 ans, 3 ans, ça a plus que doublé. Fait que c'était 46,5. 46,5. C'est 46,5, là, c'est 46 000 millions. Fait qu'imaginez-vous donc. Imaginez-vous donc là, de ça. Fait 46 000 milliards, là, c'est un chiffre énorme, hein, c'est beau ça. 46 000 milliards, fait qu'il n'y a pas d'autre solution, puis on est en veille d'avoir une crise financièrement, là. On est en veille d'avoir, bien sûr, un effondrement des finances publiques. C'est possible que quand je me rende de chez nous, c'est possible qu'il y ait un effondrement des finances publiques, bien sûr, des finances publiques. Des finances publiques. Et bien sûr, pour avoir un effondrement des finances publiques, c'est fort probable que ça arrive car le montant d'intérêt qu'on paye, bien sûr, le montant d'intérêt qu'on paye, c'était rendu à tellement un chiffre énorme de 46,5. De 46,5. Fait que 20,3 fois 2, c'est 40,6. Fait que c'était 46,5 milliards, là. Imaginez-vous, là, c'est un chiffre énorme. Fait qu'il n'y a pas de solution parce que parallèlement, un individu, un citoyenne, que son salaire ne doute pas, mais l'intérêt qu'elle, lui, les autres, ils payent sur les cartes de crédit. Moi, j'ai pas de carte de crédit, j'ai une banque ligne de crédit à la Banque Royale. Fait qu'imaginez-vous, là, théoriquement, en mathématiques, de 20,3 fois 2, ça fait 40,6. 40,6. 40,6. Fait que le chiffre 40,6, ça c'est double, ça aurait été double. Mais le chiffre c'est 46,5. C'est sûr qu'à cause de la coronavirus. Mais c'est sûr que là, notre économie, là, le produit intérieur brut n'a pas doublé, là. Fait que c'est ça, on est en veille d'avoir un effondrement des finances publiques, là. Il va falloir qu'on coupe quelque chose, c'est urgent, là. C'est urgent, il n'y a pas de solution que ma TRD, théorie de la réfusion de la dette, qui inclut en dedans d'elle la théorie d'intégration monétaire, ce qui est la théorie financière que les Européens ont fait l'implémentation dans les années 90. Ou quelque chose qui ressemble à ma théorie fortement. À part ça, il n'y a pas de solution, là. Ben, on est en veille d'avoir un effondrement, c'est possible que ça commence aujourd'hui ou demain, tu sais. C'est possible que ça commence aujourd'hui ou demain. C'est possible que ça commence aujourd'hui ou demain, tu sais. Fait que c'est des choses comme ça qui peuvent arriver. Et bien sûr, c'est possible, c'est fort probable que ça commence. Aujourd'hui, c'est possible que ça commence, sinon demain, jeudi, le 24 avril, parce que comme le même principe financier s'applique chez un individu. Elle, citoyenne, si l'intérêt double qu'elle lui paye, mettons en 2020-2021, l'intérêt pour qu'elle ou lui, ou citoyenne, XY, ça a payé, mettons, 156. 156 double, c'est 312. On va dire que de 156, ça a sauté à 333. Parce que 156, c'est double, c'est 312. Fait que de 156, mettons, en 3 ans, ça saute à 333. Sans que le salaire double. Il n'y a pas bien de salaires qui ont doublé. Fait que c'est le même principe avec du micro ou macro. Les principes financiers, pareillement, c'est pareil, le même principe. Fait que l'intérêt, ça a doublé des finances publiques. J'adore les fleurs jaunes. L'intérêt, ça a doublé, plus que doublé là, en 3 ans. C'est sûr qu'à cause de la COVID, mais on va devoir couper, comme l'individu va devoir couper dans son budget, là. Comme l'individu, nous aussi, on va devoir couper dans le budget public. Parce qu'elle, lui, citoyen, que l'intérêt double, sans que le salaire double, la moyenne des salaires, ça a augmenté 4,4% de 2020 à 2025, là. de février à février, là, en 5 ans, c'était pas beaucoup, 4,4 en moyenne. Il n'y a pas bien des salaires qui ont doublé. Fait qu'elle, lui, citoyen, il va falloir que ça coupe dans le budget, soit arrêter de fumer la cigarette, soit arrêter de Netflix, soit arrêter d'autres choses, de la consommation de bacon, du bacon, de la cuisson, de tout ça, de sortir dehors, d'aller au cinéma, ces choses-là, elle, elle va devoir couper. Fait que nous aussi, au macro, dans les finances publiques, on va devoir couper, bien sûr. C'est ça, qu'est-ce qu'on va couper? Les services de sanitation, ceux qui ramassent les poubelles, le service de sanitation publique, c'est des services de santé qu'on va devoir couper. C'est-tu bien sûr, et c'est beau ça, jaune, ah, les fleurs jaunes, j'adore. On va devoir couper, là. Qu'est-ce qu'on va couper? On va couper dans la police, la GRC, Gendarmerie royale du Canada, GRC fédérale, la police de la GRC, Gendarmerie royale, Défense nationale, les prisons, mais hey, on est en train d'avoir un effondrement. Fait que la TRD, c'est la seule unique solution, je vous l'explique. Dans ma théorie, TRD est intégrée la théorie d'intégration monétaire. Fait qu'on va prendre toute la dette publique-privée, incluant mon 10 000, ton 10 000, mon 10 000, ton 10 000, son 10 000, de côte à côte. Tout cet argent-là, on va ramasser ensemble, on va faire la conversion de tout l'argent, incluant mon 10 000 de dette, on va faire la conversion dans la devise des États-Unis. Fait que tout cet argent-là, on va faire la conversion de l'argent, de la dette publique privée du Canada dans la devise des États-Unis. Cet argent-là, on va faire l'addition ensemble avec l'addition ensemble avec la dette des États-Unis, parce que simultanément, et en principe financier, les États-Unis sont dans la même condition, dans la même situation que nous, les États-Unis. Fait qu'on va faire l'implémentation de la TRD en même temps qu'aux États-Unis. Fait qu'on va prendre toute la dette publique privée canadienne, mon 10 000, on va faire la conversion dans la devise des États-Unis, on va faire la création d'une nouvelle monnaie qui s'appelle l'UI. UI, on va l'appeler U.unité, point échange ou point universel. U.unité ou point échange, point universel. U.unité, point échange, U point universel. Le UI, l'unité d'échange universelle, on rend la valeur du dollar des États-Unis, on va mettre un plateau d'intérêt de 10% maximum. Il ne pourra plus avoir de plus que 10% par principe après qu'on va faire l'implémentation de la théorie de la refusion de la dette. Fait que tout cet argent-là, ça va faire une refusion. Fait qu'avec tout cet argent-là, avec les États-Unis ensemble, on va faire l'addition du Canada et des États-Unis, on va faire un grand recensement. On va voir tous les habitants d'une manière de conséquence par classification, puis par ceux qui habitent ici depuis 2017, on va dire, ou depuis 2020, février-mars de la COVID. 5 ou 7 ans, on va classifier ceux qui habitent là ici depuis plus que 5 ans, depuis plus que 7. Et that's all. Pour qu'on les ouvre les portes pour servir dans les nouvelles institutions de sécurité, puis de service puis de défense, les légions du Collectif de l'Amérique du Nord, soit l'armée du Dragon constituée pour la SSD, sécurité, service, défense, pour la SSD, sécurité, puis service, puis défense, pour la SSD, sécurité, puis service, défense, puis l'armée de la déesse qui danse, le Collectif de l'Amérique du Nord, Collectif Integree de la Civilisation du complexe de l'Amérique du Nord, l'armée de la déesse qui danse. L'armée de la déesse qui danse pour le Collectif de l'Amérique du Nord, pour les légions du Collectif de l'Amérique du Nord, pour les légions de l'Amérique du Nord, le Collectif de l'Amérique du Nord, pour les 63 nouvelles légions impériales pour la sécurité, pour la service, pour la défense. On va finir avec la frontière. On va s'établir de sécurité pour le service de la défense de côte à côte d'océan-océan. Côte à côte océan-océan pour la SSD, sécurité, service, défense seulement. On va bâtir 44 tunnels. Construire 44 tunnels dans le cas d'une guerre nucléaire. 44 tunnels, je ne vais pas le montagne Cheyenne. Et bien sûr, on va construire l'infrastructure, bien sûr. On va construire l'infrastructure. On va rebâtir des ponts, rebâtir l'infrastructure, mais rebâtir des ponts, rebâtir l'infrastructure, bâtir des ponts, l'infrastructure, rebâtir des ponts, mais rebâtir les ponts, rebâtir l'infrastructure, rebâtir le Collectif de l'Amérique du Nord, les ponts, rebâtir le Collectif de l'Amérique du Nord, rebâtir l'institution pour la sécurité, pour le service, puis la défense, financer les gens au tourisme, financer les gens à l'entraînement physique. On va pouvoir faire bien du bien en commun, prêter allégeance les gens, vous êtes famille, soutenez mon rêve qui se manifeste comme le royaume de la déesse et du dragon qui danse, qui est fondamentalement pour une union du collectif de la civilisation de l'Amérique du Nord, par ce complexe de civilisation de l'Amérique du Nord, pour la création puis construire le Colisée du peuple impérial sur la frontière canado-états-unienne, un partenariat public-privé pour avoir du sportis in perpetuitis, pour avoir du sportis in perpetuitis, bâtir ce Colisée impérial majestueux, le plus grand stade pour le sport du monde, qui va être 11 fois le stade de César Superdome de la Louisiane, ou comme San Francisco 49ers, ils ont perdu le Super Bowl aux Ravens. Il y a plus qu'11 ans, qu'est-ce qu'on appelle le Blackout Bowl, le Harbor Bowl. On va bâtir le temple de la déesse oubliée. On va bâtir le temple de la déesse oubliée. On va bâtir le temple de la déesse oubliée. Le temple qu'a siégé créditement surveillé à la temple de la déesse. On va bâtir la pyramide. Rouge, écarlate, rouge, rouge, écarlate. La pyramide du dragon. On va bâtir, bien sûr, le 4e bâtiment, le palais du peuple arc-en-ciel pour les neurodivergents comme moi, pour ma communauté LGBTQ, parce que j'en fais partie chez messieurs, madame, androgynes, pansexuels. Androgyne, pansexuel. Je suis androgyne, pansexuel. Homme, femme, monsieur, madame, 50-50. Homme, femme, monsieur, madame. Androgyne, pansexuel. Ben dans d'autres vies, j'avais des réincarnations, j'étais femme. En Nouvelle-France, auparavant, après. En Nouvelle-France, bien sûr, il faut que je fasse attention à certains chiens qui me donnent bien sûr des allergies s'ils s'approchent. Et qu'il va falloir que je fasse attention. Certains chiens, qui s'approchent trop proche. Puis, pas parce que je les aime pas, je les aime de loin, là, mais pour les faire bon, on va faire le cadence, on va chanter un peu, puis on va voir les groupes. Bien sûr, on va faire cette cadence pour l'intelligence des gens, soutenir mon rêve, le rêve, bien sûr, pour un partenariat public-privé. Let's go! Go Habs, go asseoir, on gagne 4-3. Let's go! Let's go for the army cadence. For the Dragon Army, property of the Dragon Army. Sang by the greatest cuckold in the universe. Dragon Army pledge your allegiance for the North American Imperial. 63. 63 legions of the North American Collective pledge your allegiance. Nobody's born a dragon. Not even myself with a surname named 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 Dragon. Blood, sweat, and tears. Blood, sweat, and tears to get here in the North American Imperial People's Coliseum. Let's get it. Get it for the DRT. Get it for the Pledge of Allegiance legions. Let's go. Cadence, freestyle mode, property of the Dragon Army. Whoever pledges allegiance, you can use these, chant these. Enemies, these words will be pestilence in your mouth, being warned. Enemies of the Dragon Army, these words will be pestilence in your mouth, you're being warned. Enemies of the Dragon Army, these words will be like pestilence in your mouth. Otherwise, let it be honey in your mouth. If you're an ally army, pledge your allegiance. Dragon Army, freestyle for security, service, and defense only. Coast to coast, ocean to ocean, Canada, United States, 63 legions. For the 63, 50 states and the 10 provinces and the 3 territories, 10 plus 3 is 13 for Canada and 1050 for the United States. 63 legions. Dragon Army cadence. SSD, security, search, and defense. One step to the right, one step to the left. Gotta get it up and down. You can see the clouds with the frown. For the butchers and the bakers and the train conductors. For the lovers and the old and the youth. For our aunties and our family, the North American Collective. For the brave and for the free and for the loving. For the construction workers, butchers, and the bakers. That's why we march. For the farmers, for the truckers, for the plumbers, electricians. Twist your hips left and right. Pledge your allegiance, that's a sight. I got those steel toes. All the running shoes be soft and mold. I don't need no stories told. Gotta bake some pies, 63 bake some pies. Gotta get it for the bakers, for the aviation train conductors. Gotta sing some marmalade. Gotta rock and roll some spades. Got a sun on the moon, stars and get some food. Gotta hydrate on the plane. Train conductors going east, train conductors going west. Train conductors going south, train conductors going south. Train conductors going north. Got the stones on the rocks. I ain't got no money, I ain't got no bucks. We cannot be bought, we cannot be bribed. We cannot be bought, we cannot be bribed. We cannot be bought, we cannot be bribed. Gotta get it for the grains. Gotta listen to the birds chirp and try to listen words. See the trees and count the branches. 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 Count the spiders in the trees. On the sun, you know I sing. Some of my dragons are black. Some of my dragons are white. Some of my dragons are rainbow. I got a marching for my homos. For my homos, for my homos. For my lesbians and for the straight. For the bacon, for the lakes. For the bacon, for the lakes. For the shake and for the bake. For the left and for the right. For the left and for the side. Gotta give it on the do, gotta give it on the you. Gotta give it on the you. Gotta give it for the sun. Gotta give it for the blue sky. Gotta give it for the blue sky. Gotta give it for the blues. I got some love and that's some lose. For the youth. For the lovers making love. It ain't all about the money. Wall Street, give some charity. I got kisses, I got hugs. Marching steps, bring the lotion, got the hands. Friends with benefits only. Friends with benefits. Friends with benefits only. Got some lotion, got the hands. Got the train conductor's planes. Got the train conductor's planes. I got a left, I got a right. I got a rainbow, got a sight. Got a left, got a the smite. Got a left, got a the bite. On the mountain, mountain, mountain. Gotta kiss on me some lakes. Gotta sing it for the bakers and the butchers and the truckers. Hey, the train conductors. Daycare workers changing diapers. Daycare workers changing diapers. Daycare workers changing diapers. I just wanna say it's super. Gotta see ready to be. Gotta see ready to see. Gotta left up into B. And another truck you see. Gotta spit in harmony. Gotta left on Peter's side. Send the king, that is the golden might. Gotta get some mighty workers. I go dumb doing some push-ups. I go dumb just do some push-ups. But I know to bake some pies. Everybody bring them to the table. Everybody bring some to the table. Gotta lose and win. SSD, security, service, and defense. That's the Dragon Army anthem. SSD, security, service, and defense. That's the Dragon Army anthem. SSD, security, service, and defense. That's the Dragon Army anthem. SSD. Security, service, and defense. Gotta get it for the do. Gotta get it for the you. For the left and for the blue. For the left and for the blue. So you know up in the sea. Gotta live in harmony. Gotta live in harmony. For the squeeze on the ducks. I don't gamble, no need some luck. Don't gamble, don't need no luck. Need some kissing and some hugging. Let's get down on dirty feet washing. After a long march, let's get down and dirty, do some feet washing. After a long march, let's get down and dirty, do some feet washing. Some of my dragons are black. Some of my dragons are white. Some of my dragons are rainbow. Some of my dragons are rainbow. Some of my dragons are dragonesses. Spell it with a double S. Some of my dragons are dragonesses. Spell it with a double S. Some of my dragons are dragonesses. Spell it with some double S. Some of my dragons are homos. Some of my dragons are straight. Some of my dragons are in between. Bi-curious, you know I lean. We fight for SSD, security, service, and defense. Gotta give it for the left. Gotta give it for the best. Gotta give it for the you. Gotta give it for them on the field, that's I see you. I see it on the field for some energy. Some energy. That's the red that I love it. That's the red that I love it. Gotta give it on the do. Gotta give it on to you. Kids go down and dirty, that's a do. Sometimes gotta be and gotta do. That's what we gotta do it for you. So you know we in the complex. North America, true, no strong and free. Gotta add some loving. In the home of the brave, on the land of the free, and the strong and the free. In the 63, we gotta add some loving. The home of the brave, land of the free, and the strong and the free. In the 63, we gotta add some loving. In the 63 of the kingdom, we gotta add some loving. In the free and the brave and the strong. In the kingdom of the free, in the kingdom of the strong, in the kingdom of the brave, we gotta add some loving. In the 63 states, we gotta add some loving. Whether in the kingdom of the dragon and the dancing goddess, in the 63 we gotta add some loving. Gotta add some loving in the free and the strong and the brave. Gotta add some loving in the kingdom of the dragon, 63. And the legions on the might, left and right, for the butchers, for the farmers, for the bakers, for the nurses, electricians, and the plumbers, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, garbage, that's collection, public sanitation, public private PPP, Dragon Army wants to give some charity, Dragon Army PPP, Wall Street Dragon Army gives some charity. Security service and defense. Gotta get it for the collective. Gotta build it, gotta stemple the North American People's Imperial Coliseum. Gotta give a stretch and fitness. Some sense and some incense. Gotta see some color blend, black and white and rainbow. Some of my dragons are black, some of my dragons are rainbow, some of my dragons are white. Some of my dragons are white, some of my dragons are black, some of my dragons are rainbow. Some of my dragons are white, some of my dragons are black, some of my dragons are rainbow. Some of my dragons are white, some of my dragons are black, some of my dragons are rainbow. Some of my dragons are red, some of my dragons are black, some of my dragons are white, some of my dragons are rainbow. Some of my dragons are black, some of my dragons are white, some of my dragons are rainbow. Let's go. For the left, for the right, coast to coast, oceans and the mountains and the valleys and the rivers. On the oceans and the valleys and the rivers. Maple leaf and in the star with a dragon up and go. The stars, the leaf, and the dragons. The stars, the leaves, and the dragons. The stars, the leaf, and the dragon. Maple leaf and with the stars. With the dragons, that's a scar. And the leaves and the stars. With the dragons, that's a start. A new start, a new start, new start. With the leaves and the stars and the dragons, that's a restart, new start. With the stars and the leaves, maple leaves. The maple leaves, that's with the dragons, that's a new start. With the stars and the leaves and the dragons, that's a new start. Gotta paint some red and some green, and I said, gotta move it for the left, for the right, and for the blade. Gotta see some sentence yet. Gotta left and right and purple. Hey, who am I? I'm Dragon Zero. Who am I? When I say who am I, you answer, you are the greatest cuckold in the universe, aka Rainbow Dragon. Who am I? And you answer, you are General Dragon, Rainbow Dragon, aka greatest cuckold in the universe. Who am I? You are Rainbow Dragon, founder of the Dragon Army. The greatest, also known as the greatest cuckold in the universe. I got the tiniest. He answer, you got the tiniest, smallest. Let's go for the left and right, for the highways, for the byways, for the cities and the metropolis, for the big city and the small city and the 63. For the small city and the big city and the 63. For the small city and the big city and the 63. For the small city and the big city and the 63. You gotta get me some loving. Gotta get me some of that bacon. Dragging on me. Gotta kiss. Is that what that says there? Gotta check my eyes again. Oh yeah, that's good. Do sometimes some marching, sometimes gotta do some kissing. Somebody across the 63. Realms, states, realms, process of the kingdom. Better be that KISS. Somebody across the 63. Better be that KISS. Somebody across the 63. Better be that KISS. KISS. Somebody across the 63. Gotta be some KISS. KISS, KISS. Gotta be some do, gotta be some do. Left and right and I see you. It's a new day. Gotta sing and gotta slay. All I got is today. Some a little bit too gray. Nobody dies and not today. Some days are a bit gray. But nobody dies, not today. Some of these days are a little gray, but nobody dies, not today. Gotta check the light above. Thunder King ready to spit some of that. Golden loving. Where's the moon becoming full? Once a month, you know it's soon. Count the minutes, count the seconds. And another English sentence. Gotta spit it for the sentence. I have learned a lot of lessons. It ain't easy to be free. Not enough to be brave, see. Gotta add some loving. Gotta add some loving. Gotta add some loving. Gotta add some left and right. Hey, it looks sometimes with the silence paradise. So many beautiful clouds in the sky. So many beautiful clouds in the sky. Go on the toes, go high, high, high. So many clouds in the sky. Go on the toes, go high, high, high. Satellites and GPSs. Watch the solar flare, that's a blessing. So many GPSs, satellites in the sky. Watch the solar flare, that's a blessing. So many satellites in the sky. So many solar flares, that's a blessing. God abracadabra, marry me with Papa Crowley. Bury me with Papa Crowley. 1/3 in Hampton, New Jersey. Bury me with Papa Crowley. 1/3 of me in Hampton, New Jersey. 1/3 of me, city of the pyramids, past lives of man and woman. On the mountain, down Mount Royal. On the mountain, down Mount Royal. Got a prince for the beast. Gotta prince it for the beast. I gotta prince it for the beast. Gotta prince it for the beast. Gotta love and sentence, please. Gotta love and sentence, leash. Love and flooded unleashed. Flood and that's unleashed. Flood and that's unleashed. Gotta sing ready to hiss. Gotta left and right and bliss. Gotta go up in the list. Construction workers on steel toes. Take the cranes ready to roll. Ready to rock, ready to roll. On the road and on the road and on the road. Cadence, property of the Dragon Army created freestyle mode. General Rainbow Dragon, aka greatest cuckold, little tiniest in the universe. Tiny clit, dig clit. Rainbow Dragon, steel toe boots. Gotta get it for the loving. Gotta get it for the bakers, butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, grocery store clerks, construction workers, Hydro-Quebec workers, plumbers, electricians. Give a little bit of that charity. You know, we gotta get it on the do. You know, we gotta get it on the love, and that's how we gotta get it on the side of the streets. You know, and just make sure we got a little bit of that love inside of XYZ, and that's how we gotta get doing on the love. You know, we gotta get on the side of things. You know, there. So something which we gotta be meditating about in this situational complex of where we are now, that we're about to have perhaps a international conflagration. International conflagration, and so we need to get a little bit of that, and so we got to get a little bit of that side on the side of this, get a little bit of that balance, you know. Our balance and equilibrium, and continue the cadence. Some of my dragons are black, some of my dragons are white, some of my dragons are rainbow, some of my dragons are white, some of my dragons are rainbow, some of my dragons are black, some of my dragons are black white. Some of my dragons are white black. Some of my dragons are white black. Some of my dragons are black white. Some of my dragons are black, white, and rainbow. Some of my dragons are black and white and rainbow. So all of my dragons, none of my dragons are born the dragons. None of my dragons are born a dragon. 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 Blood, sweat, and tears. Turn that A into an O. Just so left or right you show. For the do and for the do's. For the blessed and for the you. For the left and for the sight. Where there's a light, there's a shadow. Where there's a light, there's a shadow. Where there's a light, there's a shadow. Gotta go up, 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 up. Gotta go up in the sun. Steel toes, that's the Holy One. That's already to do. That's up in the menu. That's you to do and see. Truth. I had a little bit of Latin cadence. Latin. Flashes of past lives. Memories, you know? Sometimes you get a little bit of that memories and get a bit of that reincarnations. Sometimes I was born a man and a woman, you know? So that's what we gotta get doing with that. And so we gotta get doing, you know? So we gotta get doing on the go, and that's how we gotta get on the love side of things, you know. So it's something which I gotta be doing, you know, as I go there, and gotta watch it for my fellow citizen. He used to embark on the side, you know. Gotta watch it at the corner, buddy. There's cars, so gotta look over a little bit, you know. My fellow citizen, I think he knows. Maybe that's all we gotta be doing, and that's it. Right. That's it. Beautiful field of blue. Beautiful. DGA for that, Dancing Goddess Army to Save the Earth. Or at least North American Collective, because it's what I know, Quebec, Canada, North America. So that's what we gotta get doing with that. And so we gotta be on the meditational facilities, and we gotta be mindful of what's going on, what's happening, you know. So that's something which we gotta be coast to coast, ocean to ocean, 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 coast to coast, ocean to ocean. Gotta get it light, gotta get it blue and white, gotta get it blue and right. Yeah. After a good workout, and gonna clock in 4 hours plus, and yesterday clocked in more than 6, and I'm not gonna clock in more than 4 today because I'm gonna go do some math, and I'm trying to catch the game. It's at 7, so now must be around 5:20. So that's something which I gotta be keeping in mind of that, and that's why I gotta be consequential, you know, for the prudence. And my backpack, yeah, so I got it there. It's on the side of the backpack, and that's what we gotta get doing on there, you know. So we gotta get doing on the sun. So grade 1, I'm gonna go hydrate straight, hydration, HYDRAT, and say to my HQ, I guess. So we're in, I guess, for more silent cadence, because now I guess there's a populated area. So when it's populations, you know, gotta tone down a little bit, and so I gotta be mindful as an aspie that I'm in the public and can't be singing Dragon Army cadence. Some people might take in a nap before the game, and there's children and family with children, and gotta be mindful, you know. It's cadence best on the mountain, in the forest, in the wilderness, raw, rugged terrain, or where I just was, you know. Then here, basically, in the populated areas. Really thirsty, so I'm gonna go exactly where. Gotta salute the public workers, you know. They're doing a little bit of that work, and underneath cables and all the work that they're doing for the aqueducts across the North American Collective, you know, we gotta get on that go side, and so we gotta be implementing on what's happening here. Let's see. So that's French. That says the potable water, 13.2 million, 13.2. Roxborough excavation. Let's go start building the Forgotten Goddess Temple in the North American People's Coliseum. But it's only in French. But that's basically what that says there. It's information regards to. Oh yeah, oh that was a good one. So I wish I could paint this. It's so gray. Just paint some blue, white, purple. Just bring me the tools. I'll paint it all here, all the hallway. And every time I pass, like, so gray. Just bring me the paint, the tools, and I'll just paint some purple, some yellow, some blue. Make some color here, you know. So some young loving. I gotta salute that. That's worth fighting for, being armed for, to defend coast to coast, coast to coast, you know. Like young adolescent loving and going towards the summer love because it's spring, so graduating, I guess, or maybe, I don't like to assume because my ignorance is known as yours is. But so some good young couples, you know. And that gives me some hope. That's also Dragon Army, you know. You better defend some loving, youth love, adolescent loving, man. Summer love ain't all about Wall Street. I ain't got no money for the guitar, but I sing it with the scars, you know. Here's what I wanted. I think this is best if closed for prudence, but best if closed. As you can open it if there's fire, but fire, love. Fire, love, fire, love. Thank you, workers of the public who built this. Imagine all the brains and muscle to build this underground, and take some brains and take some muscle and take some doing and take some of me drinking. Oh yeah. All right, so I'm gonna go on that side, and I guess saw the time, and it's 5 5:19, so I got, I guess, 44 minutes. Wow, wait. So I left, it was 1:50, I'm not sure exactly. So I've been more than 3 hours and 13 minutes now. I think it was 1:56. I think so, I'm not sure. 1:56? I got to 1:56. For some reason, it's the time when I left my headquarters, so I guess that gives a good drill with that. And I would love to paint also these benches. All the benches here need some color, you know, it'd be like some purple, some blue. I don't know, even this, like, so gray, you know. Just some color, you know, just some gray. I don't know, some color with that, and that's what we need to get doing with that. There's some of that gray stuff, you know. I got it for the X, Y, Z here, you know. Gotta love the youth, man. I know, man. Yeah, I gotta be careful because sometimes they don't cross, you know. Coffee street. Gotta stop.
Yo, take the later train. Go! That's how we gotta get doing with the love in it. The youth are happy, I guess I'm happy, so we're gonna go drill it in and check the fridge, and got some that new building there, which is good. That's that new building, and that's new, so you got new investment there. I don't like to criticize because, you know, like the complimentary offer alternative solution, but we gotta get on that go with that. That's why they gotta be putting on that, you know. But that one there, see, this is new. All this is new, man. That's what we gotta do, you know. So we gotta put some. I will put some paint, you know, some red, some blue, some red, some blue, some orange, some of that pink. I don't know. I guess me, I love colors, you know. I don't know. That's just how it is with that, and I gotta cross here, man. In the sun, we gotta sing it with a spoon, gotta sing it for the kids, go to trigonometry lessons. There's no fear, man. Killers are killers, man. Things are like Boys. Warrior load of the 40s, man. The 50 states, man. Worry about the 40s. Worry about the 40s. The 80s coming. Fear. The Sit philosophy. Fear. The Sit philosophy. Sit philosophy. Sit. 3. Fears. Calls on their master. 156. On them, you know? So just that's the 50, you know. I don't know what this was, man. It's always fascinating what this one is here. It's kind of nice. I don't know. I gotta say I like it. I would love more color, but it's like black and gold is kind of nice. Black, gold, and gray. Black, gold, and gray, you know. They're safe and joyous, I'm joyous. They're safe and I'm joyous, you know. It takes Yes, ain't shooting nobody, man. A minute. Nevada desert. Oh, I gotta make an effort to cross. Wow, that is just so much blue. Blue, 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 so much blue. Wow, wow, wow. Just so much blue. Wow. It's really a lot of blue, man. Cadence, cadence, cadence. A little bit slow paced, you know. For the Dragon Army SSD. 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 What a beautiful flowers. Wow, wow, wow. This is really nice. Wow. I really love the flowers here. It's so purple, so blue. It's really amazing. Just a nice purple. Wow, and that one's like a small red one right there, see? Reddish, my favorite color. Anyways, it's really nice. Oh yeah, that's some nice fields here, man. I was just admiring your flowers. Oh yeah, the purple is really amazing. And you have an anomaly. Did you notice that there's a red one, sole red one? Yeah, if you notice there. Because I like red is my favorite color, eh? So I noticed that one, see? The anomaly is right in the middle there.
Oh yeah.
You see it?
It's called fait.
C'est rouge.
Oui, c'est rouge.
Ça me fait penser, tu sais, que c'est la seule vraiment qui est rouge dedans le...
Oui.
En tout cas.
Que c'est les conditions de...
Yeah.
du terrain.
Ouais.
Qui les rendent différentes couleurs.
Moi, je trouve ça vraiment bon, en tout cas. C'est vraiment un petit jardin beau, là, la couleur. Salut! Gotta get out of the way. Gotta get out of the way for the youth who've done the biking, which is important. So that's why I stepped outside of the trottoir. You know, here we call trottoir with the pedestrian, the sidewalk, because I saw the youth and I give them priority, safety, pleasure, and learning their joy. Their joy to be XYZ, and that's all we're gonna get doing with that, and that's always gonna be happening, you know. So that's all we're gonna get doing on the love side of things, and that's all we gotta get doing on that love, man, you know. So it's something which we gotta be meditating about. So because I'm in the public, I got added responsibilities, duties, and obligations, and that's all we gotta get doing with that. And so we gotta get on the left and right, and also here I gotta. Here is a stop only north and south, so they're going east. That one's where they're going west, right? Because it's going there is going west, and there is going east and east and east. They're going east and they're going north and south. So that's all we gotta get doing on the love, you know. So that's all we gotta get doing on the love Bards' thing. So that's all we gotta get doing on the love, you know. Got a new song now. There's a nice bird. So grateful, and more people have been putting that flag, you know, the maple leaf, gotta go with the stars and the dragons. Stars and dragons. And I have a tattoo on my right arm right in the, well, there I have a maple leaf and the word Canada. So I always got the flag and on me, so nobody can really tell me nothing. Y'all can tell me nothing about nationalism, patriotism, because, but I am for the North American collective, you know, so I'm North American centric more than nationalistic. So I'm not really nationalist, eh? For the drenching Goddess Dragon Kingdom, the North American complex. Union, Canada, United States, fused. And then 63. And that's what we gotta get doing on the XYZ, you know? So we gotta get doing on the XYZ, you know? So we gotta get on that lovebirds with that. Something which we gotta do. Here we gotta go down the side, man, and gotta check for those. So we're gonna get doing. Meditate. Gotta check it for the grilled eggplants. Best before date. What's the best before date? And we're gonna get it on the loose. So we gotta get doing, you know. So I don't know. Best before. And so I guess some of those are working, I guess. What are those? I guess I can do a little bit of that. Well, that's not coffee, but you can have a little food there. What is that? Villa. I guess you're gonna put it for that paprika, but I'm just not gonna take. I'm just gonna take the grilled eggplants, and so we're gonna go do it on the go. So we gotta go doing on that, you know. So we're gonna get doing on the left, right. Got some bread here.
Man, I swear to God.
Got some bread. That's about it, man. That's what we gotta get doing, man. Thanks for the bread. I think the farmers first, huh? Farmers, bakers. Farmers, bakers, chain of command, you know. Firefighters. Love me some of that good firefighters. Gotta get back on the loving side. The love on that spanky. Gotta get it for the love and firefighters. Gotta love our firefighters. Let's get ready. Gotta love our firefighters. Firefighter rock and roll, baby. Rock and roll rap. For the firefighters, gotta rock and roll. On the road. Gotta sing it for the firefighters. We gotta love it for the firefighters. For the truckers, for the butchers. For the plumbers and the electricians. Gotta get it for the sure thing, dear love, no problem. Gotta get it for the love. Gotta get it for the love. Gotta get it for the love. Firefighters, give them some massages. Gotta get it for the left. Firefighters gotta love it. Firefighters give him some loving. Firefighters give him some hugging. Firefighters, firefighters. For the truckers and the butchers. Firefighters need some singing. Rock and roll across the collective. North America, you know they hectic. That's the you up in the you. That's the me up in the you. Loving firefighters, give them some massages. Give me some massages. Gotta give them some loving. You know they need some hugging. Gotta be prudent on the road. Put your lights when you're about to turn up. Put your lights when you're about to turn up. Code of conduct on the streets ain't like football. Foul on the play, they say. Foul on the play, they say. Gotta sing it every day. Gotta sing it every day. Gotta sing it every day. Gotta sing it for the left. Gotta sing it for the right. Gotta spin it up and down and up and down and up and down. Gotta sing it for the one. Gotta sing it for the one. Gotta sing it. That's the sun. That's the sun. Abracadabra, abracadabra, abracadabra. You know how we sing it. You know just how we do it. On the left we rock and roll. Ready, flipping on the scroller. Firefighters loving me, loving you. Rock and roll. Get back home safely.